Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Chopping It Up. I'm your host, Ryan Wenndt, a.k.a. The Eagle. Cue the music up now for a sweet eagle sound. With me today is Mr. Wesley Strait. What is going on, sir?
Not much. Been a while. I've been wanting to come on here. I don't have the best voice at the moment, but I was just sick last week. I don't know. Well, hopefully my voice comes back soon. It's annoying.
Well, and I know I wanted to kind of split you and Hard Tongue up, get a few people in between you guys. And then, when I'm fine, it always seems like when I'm finally ready to get somebody on here, they're like, oh, in your case, like, I want to wait for my flag to come in. I was like,
Yeah.
of course. So I got to wait another week, and scrounge up to find somebody else, which, it doesn't bother me. I got a list, a laundry list long. Oh, yeah, man. It looks phenomenal. I always got mine hanging up. You know what I think? I've been thinking about this for a minute, and maybe you'd be a good bear. So like anybody that wins a race or a championship in the race, they get a trophy. Or now we're offering cups.
Mm-hmm.
I think we need to get some chop shop hats made. Like almost everybody that races wears a hat.
I was thinking that too. Yeah, that would be cool.
This is actually my work hat, and the company that makes these, it's Richardson. They make phenomenal hats. And I was going to bring something up, but that you think that'd be something everybody'd be into if they made, we got some chop shop hats?
Definitely, yeah. Even just to order, from John himself or whatever, not necessarily for winning, but yeah, I think that would be good. I've always been a hat pin collector too, so I have a lot of hat pins from all the races I go to, the event pins and everything. That would be something cool.
So are you just talking like a regular pin that you'd normally put in?
Yeah, but I never usually put them on hats. But I have them I have a collection of them like crazy.
You know what? I always find it interesting to see what people's niches are. So like me, I have so much cologne. For some reason that's my thing. Like I got like every variety of cologne, and my dad's into hats. My dad has a wall, dude, down this hallway in his house, just fucking hats everywhere. Oh yeah, no hats.
Yeah,
my
hats.
Dad, cologne, dude. I got a whole drawer full of that shit.
I used to have a bunch of hats. I don't know where I have. Like when I was younger, I used to have tons of hats. I've gotten rid of a lot of them in years past, so I had some good ones too. I was always a Matt Kenseth fan, so I had a lot of Kenseth hats, DeWalt hats. I do remember at when I used to go to the races and Kenseth was sponsored by Smirnoff. My dad had to buy the stuff for me because they wouldn't let me buy it. I was literally trying to buy it. Yes, because of Smirnoff. My dad's like, really? It's a shirt or like a hat. So he bought it and gave it to me right in front of me. I'm like, unbelievable.
That's awesome.
That was funny.
That's weird. How long ago was that?
Probably 2004 and 5 at Dover, something like that. I think.
Man,
so I know that was about when he had Smirnoff. Was 2004 or 5.
And that's so because I graduated in 2006. So in the league, I think I'm like the medium age. Everybody's normally between 30 and 45.
I was 07, so I'm only.
Yeah, you're a year behind me. It's. I don't remember. I don't know if you do, but I don't remember like people being really stingy about dumb stuff like that. So it's weird that NASCAR would kind of,
Well, it was at least a trailer. I know they all used to have their own trailers back then. I miss those days.
Yeah.
They used to all have their individual trailers, and some had a couple. But
you when Kenseth took out Logano, you were one of the cats standing up, being like, "Yeah,
great, yes."
And he put his sunglasses. My favorite part of that whole thing. He put his sunglasses on, and Dale Jr. is like, "Yeah, he doesn't want anybody reading his thoughts."
Yeah. That was great to watch. The what was it called? The radioactive from that. That was great. Love it to this day. Still love it. Never was a fan of Logano ever since he took him out at Kansas. I was not happy. So yeah, it made me laugh. That was the last draw when him and Keselowski were battling and doing that little starting on the front row and letting each other in, and ended up taking Kenseth out between the two of them. And that, I'm sure, then he just came back out and said, "I can't take it anymore." And I've never seen him do anything like that. He had enough finally. It was
Well, and
awesome.
I mean, it was so deliberate, which is why I think it was so awesome for everybody.
I love watching the
Um,
crowd there. Oh my god, that was funny. I
oh,
wish I was at that race.
nobody was sitting there.
Nope.
Like everybody knew it was coming, but they didn't know if it was actually going to happen. And I think
Yep.
that was the best part. I do think, he messed Logano up, but Logano could have got back on the track and finished that race if he
I
wanted to.
don't know.
I
That
don't.
car was hopping off the track. It was.
That's
I don't.
true. It's true. But that
Who
was
knows?
before the rear ends were as weak as they are today too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's let's start with the basic stuff. Name, age, location, what you do for a living, just basic everyday stuff.
Well, you know the name, Wesley. Um, I'm 34. I'll be 35 in April 19th, and I work for the state here in New York. So, nice 8 to 4 job, and out the door. And then
What
I
do you do for
come
the
home
state?
here. Finance for like
Okay.
our highway thing out here. I know different states have like different names. There's like the New York State Thruway up here, but like parkways and stuff like that were in different states. But like for it's one of the toll roads up here, the
Okay.
toll highways. So in the headquarters building, because I'm in like the capital area where we have different divisions all through New York for it.
So
But
do you get state benefits and everything?
yeah, yep.
Man, you gonna be set up retiring early, aren't you?
I hope so. I think I gotta wait until like 62, maybe. I don't know.
Hey, that's you know what? If they start pushing that crap, where you have to retire, or they want us to retire at 70,
Oh no,
you'll be
I
well
hope not.
beyond that.
No,
No, hell no,
no.
buddy. I'll live under a bridge before I work until I'm in my
Yep,
70s.
yep.
That's
Got that
cool.
right.
One one of the things we have to talk about is bowling. And
Yes,
the
yeah.
reason we have to talk about bowling is because you are a huge bowler. Did you ever watch the episode of me and Alex Thompson?
I watched. I don't know if I finished watching that, but I did start it. I don't know if I
So,
finished getting through that one or not, but I did watch a good portion of that.
so long story short, and you can give me your feedback. I have under my belt 6 300s, and it was just I was, I guess the best way to put it, naturally adaptive to bowling. And, as you know, out of everybody, there's people that can just come in and pick it up really quick and do very well.
Yeah.
And then there's people that struggle forever. And then there's people that take a long time to develop. Anyways, Alex bowled a 300 and he didn't even know it. And he took a
I
pit.
did not
I
see that
called
part.
Okay, so I called bullshit at first, right? Because I've done it. I've done it 6 times, and I know how big of a deal it is. But he showed me a picture of the actual score sheet, and when on the monitors, if you go in and hand manually change it, it'll show that that frame was manually
Yes.
changed.
Yep.
I didn't see that at all. So what would your thoughts be? Like, would you still believe it, or would you still be skeptical about it?
If if you didn't see the little like telltale that you had to change one, I guess you'd have to believe it. Unless, well, you still got maybe somebody else can bowl in some of the frames. Who knows? That's weird how you wouldn't know that you bowled a 300. You can't.
Right.
I've been bowling since I was 4 years old, and I didn't hit one until I was. I don't know if I hit. I think I was 29, going on 30 that year. The first year I hit it, took forever. I've had two 299s before that. That hurt. One was practice, like dollar night or something. But then I had one 299 in league, and that was my first true experience of holy crap, because I dropped the ball and it crossed over and left the 5-pin. That was
Oh,
bad. So, but that was in 2011, something like, I think 2011 or 12, and I didn't even, I've had a number of 279s, and then one year I had like this a bunch of two 279s, a 280, even a 290. The following years when I hit the 300 finally, and it came after. My, looking back, my worst series since like 2017 was the week before that 300 was shot. My first
oh
300.
my.
So it's weird to look back at that. I had like a 550 something, and then the next week out, I come out and shoot 300 the second game, and over the everybody coming up to you, and then it just hits you. And then I had tears in my eyes at points, and then I finished the last game with a 179. So I didn't even hit an 800 in any of the four 300s that I got. Don't have an 800 in those, but I have two separate 800s with no 300. So,
In my experience, because I've actually done the exact same thing. It seems like, especially in a series of 3 games, that if you hit a 300, it's like you don't give a shit about the other two for whatever reason, or it's vice versa. You have a horrible one, your two's pretty good, and then you smoke a 300, and you're like, why couldn't I just average 250 on the first two
uh,
and then hit the
yeah.
300? Because then you're sitting good. So I
But
get it, man.
and I my uncle has two 800s, I think, no 300s. My dad has four 300s, no 800s. So, and my uncle's 800s are like an 812 and an 80 something, and I don't even remember those. They were a long time ago. My my dad's last 300 was before my first one, so he has four. And then when I finally hit it, I got my 300. 2 weeks later, I hit my second one. Hundreds of years before I got one. Two weeks later, I hit my second one, and I'm like, oh, I'm halfway to you now. So, and then it took like another 2 3 years, and then I got, um, ironically, I hit the 300 when we had our Daytona 24 that day in 2021 or two, and we started it, and I went bowling and to come back, and I bowled the 300 and came back to run the rest of the, help with the Daytona 24. So, I never forgot that, because the year after we did the Daytona 24 and 23. That's when I hit my first 800 that same weekend. So I was
Holy
like, that's
smokes.
really weird. So
Yeah.
and I not only did I hit, like, I didn't hit no 8. I crushed it with an, I don't know what happened, but I shot 289, 279, 279, and I wanted that one frame back in each of those games. I think one was a 10 pin, and I had two 4 pins in the other two games, one 4 pin in each of the other two games. But I shot my, it was in, what the heck was it? Eight. I got the stupid ring, and I don't even remember what it was. My two 800s are like, I think 847 it was. 847 and 835 are my two 800s. They're not like little 800s either. It's, I don't know where they came from. Just really good days. It was great. So,
So and it's self doubt is an
what happened?
extremely powerful,
It happens a lot in bowling.
right.
Trust me.
And I think it could be applied across the board, you know, especially let's use Hammond as an example. He was up front, in the middle, in the back all the time. He gets one win, and then it clicks to the point where he's like, "Oh, I can do this," and now he's run up front all the time.
He's been
So
up
I
a
mean,
while, yeah.
when you finally get that 300, it takes the self doubt out of your head. You're like, "Dude, I can do this. I've done it."
Yes.
And they tend to I was extremely lucky and fortunate that I got my first one as soon as I think I got my first 300 after the third year, I believe, and it was just like a freak thing that it was a good night, and I thought it was a pure luck thing. Well, then when my average started going up to, I think my average was like 215 for most of the part after that, 215, 225, which anybody that knows anything about bowling is hard to keep. It's not easy.
It is. It
You
is.
know, I mean, there's a lot of professional bowlers that Kevin Hart's a good bowler. Kevin Hart's a really good bowler, and
I like watching those celebrity things they
yeah,
do.
he typically he holds a 215 to 235 average, and I think he would smoke me. Like, I don't think I would stand a chance against him. He's too good. But anyways, what do you
What I
remember
thought.
the ball you were using when you hit your first 300? You should know this.
I think it was the Alpha Crux. The first one I had. The first 300 was the Storm Alpha Crux.
Why am I not familiar with that ball? What did it look like?
It's like black and blue.
Okay.
Which a
What year
lot of my
was it
bowling
released?
balls.
Do you know?
Oh, jeez. See,
It was a
that
polished
was
ball though, right?
yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. The newest one I have is finally more of a dull one, which I wanted that kind of ball too. I have the Nova, the
Oh yeah,
newest one I
Nova's a
have.
good ball.
So I wish I had all that money to buy a bowling ball every 3 weeks and stuff like a lot of people I know that are good. Now, well, real quick back to the 300s. I wanted to say this, but I bowled my fourth 300 against my dad's team to get the fourth like he has. So that was a cool moment because he was up there with me.
Right.
So, and then we've both been close like 3 or 4 times since, and that was last season. So then he was close after that to going back up a one, and then I blew a couple since then too. So he still can blow it even though you've had it a couple of them. It's
Oh,
very easy
absolutely.
sometimes just to. But what were we talking about? I feel like John Force going off topic and then.
No, you're all right. So you went back to your 300s, get that out of the way, and then we were talking about what balls you got 300
Oh
with.
yeah, so I remember. Oh yeah, that's what I was talking about. Like how a lot of friends I know like getting these new bowling balls every year, every couple months and stuff like that. And
I was that
I'm
guy,
like,
just so you know.
I I would love to, but they're costly. And
What are they running right now? Because I haven't bowled in probably like 10 years. I know back when I was going heavy on it, like top of the line. Like, I remember when the Storm Crossroads, IQ, all those balls were kind of coming out. I think the IQ was like probably one of the most expensive, and it was like 250, 279, obviously
they're
drilled and
about
everything.
that. I think yeah, they're
They're
about
about the
that
same still.
still.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes you'll get a little crossed out price. Like usually when you get them from the person who's going to drill it, they give you a little deal on drilling it
Right.
and
Yeah.
the
Well, they
ball. And
have
I
to.
always had the fingertips. Yeah, I use the fingertips and the thumb grip in it. And I have a 4 ball bowling bag because I have a hook, so I can't shoot 10 pins with that thing. Um, so I have a plastic ball I use for my 10 pins, which this year, shockingly, is probably my knock on wood. The best year I've had at sparing the 10 pin. I'm like 92%. Haven't been that high ever, and I've already
Now,
left like 91 10 pins this year, and I'm only like 13 less than. And my average is so much higher than it's been. So what could have been if I carried those is what I want.
right.
No,
All
but
right. I mean, you're right-handed, right?
yeah, yeah.
So
I
my question is, when you get the 10 pin, do you shoot it across the lane, or do you go right down the end or right down the side?
cross lane, but I've tried to learn to move a little more into the middle and not throw it fully across, so I don't have the little mistake of going. I try to throw it more straighter, so I stand a little further in, a little left of the middle, so it's a little still an angle, but not like too much of an angle.
See, what I would do is I would stand on second arrow or the first arrow right off center. I would throw down third arrow just so it could drift to the right enough and stick. And that's just, and I used my crossroads for that. I bought that super expensive ball at the time, thinking like, oh, it's
Yeah.
going to be the bee's knees. But you know, and every drill's different. So, and
Yes, that's another thing.
I hate playing with refilled balls because the weight seems like it's not right for rotations. So if the core isn't as strong as I think it is, and I drill it strong, and I'm still not getting the rotation, it automatically becomes a spare ball. I mean, that's just how I've
Yeah.
always done it. Then obviously the ones that hook the hardest, those are primaries.
I usually try to get, a lot of them drilled. The next one I get, I'm going to get a little different because I usually ask to try to get it down lane further and have it snap more at the end.
Right.
But I kind of want one now, next time I get one, to hook earlier. That way I kind of have a little bit different, something different to work with if I had to. Because like back in like 2018, I think was the first year, one of my friends found this summer league at a different bowling alley around me that did the PBA patterns for the summer. And I'm like, yeah, that'll be cool. I remember the first time first day, first week in practice, I watched a couple people throw the ball for the first time, way outside, right in the gutter. I was like, that's a little scary to watch. And I bowled that first week. I was like, wow, I never again will I watch the PBA go, and I could have beat that game so much harder. I don't know if you've ever bowled on a PBA pattern or like a sport shot. So much harder, so much more oil. And it takes, when they tell you you miss your mark by this much, you miss it because you miss it to the right, that thing's sliding out and ain't coming back for nothing. Or if you miss it this much to the left, it'll hit a spot and like almost
Yep.
cross over a head pin. And yet I keep going back and doing it every summer. I don't know,
See,
I'm crazy or something.
I don't think I'm maybe I have done PBA. I don't know for sure. 90% of mine were sports.
Yeah. Well,
Because
now the league I'm in changed to sports last season, but they were
right.
PBA. The cheetah, believe it or not, the smallest, the shortest, was my
I hate
worst.
that
That
is
was
the
my
one I
worst.
hate the absolute most. I hate the cheetah. I
I'm starting
hate
to
it.
like the longer patterns better. I'm like, I don't know anything like under 36. I struggled with the cheetah and the chameleon, and then I bowled the shark, which is like 46. I think
I like
it
the
was the
shark.
old shark was 45, but I think
Yep.
there's a newer one that's longer. But that was the very first one I bowled on was a 45-foot pattern, and I was like, my God, this ball ain't moving. But yeah, the cheetah ended up being my worst. I could not be consistent whatsoever on there.
So to put this in broad spectrum for anybody watching this, what we're talking about are professional. So
Yeah,
sport patterns are typically used in college, and they're oil patterns down the lane. Now, when we're talking about oil patterns, like cheetah is a very short pattern. It's really heavy in the center, a little
33
lighter in the
feet.
beginning, and it's dead on the back end. So when your ball reaches, 15, 25 feet from the pins, that could be potentially completely dry to where there's no oil on the surface at all. So if your ball is really good at soaking up oil, it's going to bite on the back end really hard. And a lot of people, what we call miss the pocket, which the pocket for a right-handed bowler is the center pin. What is that? Two or three
Three,
right next to it.
three.
Three is three right there, and that's the pocket. And on the left hand side, it's the exact opposite. Typically, what I did, especially on cheetah, and this is why I hated it, is because it snapped so hard. I would Brooklyn everything I shot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you Brooklyn it, so what a Brooklyn is if you're right-handed and your right hand pocket's just off the right side of center, I'm hitting it on the left side of center. That's called we call it a Brooklyn. I don't
Yes,
know what you guys call
that's our
it.
Brooklyn for right-handers.
Okay, so and it's the polar opposite for a left-handed golfer. Just so everybody kind of clears it up. Oil patterns like shark is a really heavy oil pattern. Um, and your ball will slide for a long time. So if you want a little less bite, you need to make sure you hit your marks, going down the lane, etc.
Yep.
It's you guys should look it up. It's everybody
It's
thinks bowling, is just throwing a ball down a
yeah,
lane,
I
and there's so
know.
much
I
more
know.
to it.
There's a
If
lot more mental
right,
I don't yeah. There's a lot of mentality to it. It's very difficult. So
yeah,
like
and
house shots, you got dry on the outside, so you go outside and it'll come right back. You cannot do that with the PB, the pro patterns. The oil is the entire lane width. So
and it
I remember
changes.
going outside and just watching the thing go straight. I'm like, okay, and turn around and be like, yeah, I gotta definitely move from that spot. So yeah, and we were laughing a lot. I used to get upset a lot, and I've calmed myself down, and I think that made me a better bowler too, because I don't think I've had, well, with the exception of the only 2 weeks this year, I had 500s where I didn't hit a 200 game, and I'm like, I'll bring up my stats after quick and talk about it. I've got one of the best years I ever had, with the exception of 2 weeks. But I know you can't have, it's 32 week season, so obviously I know there's some coming. You just never want that day to come. So I remember used to getting mad so much, and I'm just like, I've calmed myself down so much, a lot better, that if I have one bad game, it usually only ends up being one bad game, and I,
Good.
move right on from it. Like this past week, I started off with I was, I was like, I managed striking out for a 179 the first game, and then had like a 211 and a 260 something to still get 656 or something out of it. So yes, still I'm always upset at the end of the day, being like, well, I could have had more. Always could have had more, but
Well,
um,
and I think a lot of people don't understand that you can have an average of anywhere from 210 to 250 and bowl a 179. You might as well take that 179 or 185 or whatever and call it a 100, because that's what it feels like when
it
you
does
carry
when you're
carry an average
yes.
over two. Which carrying an average over two doesn't sound like much, but it is not easy at all. And especially when you're in a league and handicaps come into play, that can make or break your guys' entire game. Because I mean, people sandbag obviously, but you got to be careful, because I've known a lot of guys that are so inconsistent that I have a buddy. He used to bowl 125, 150 all the time. So he was our ringer. Guaranteed, because he could throw up a good night at any given point, but his
Yeah,
handicap was based off of that 125, 150 area. And this cat comes out for some reason, because he was like dead set on, being one of the guys. I think it was a team of four. We were all averaging, I think my average at that time was like 203. And the two guys I was bowling with was over 230s, and he was a ringer. I think his was 135 or something like that. He was so mad that we were so better than he was, but he didn't understand how impactful he was to the team, because he didn't
oh,
understand the politics behind it.
it's
And
amazing
he
how much like lower handicap people can really, just one
right.
good game can, like, especially in tournaments, it's really great when they, but it's very hard for the entire team to have an entire three good games in like a tournament stuff. So um yeah.
Right. So this kid, he was so mad and, like, I don't know, intimidated that his teammates were all in the 200s. What he does is he goes out, gets professional coaching, practices, and then he comes out one night and, like, his lowest game was 235. I'm like, dude, not only did we have a phenomenal night, you're screwing us. like, because
Yeah.
the next week
Next
it
week
was back down to
was a lot
150s. I'm
less
like,
handicap.
what are you doing? You're killing us right now. like we're losing to teams we shouldn't be losing to. We're holding, you want to
Uh-huh.
you want to bowl around
Yeah,
your
that'll
average.
happen.
That's the goal. So it was, I miss those days. I mean, a lot of beer drinking,
I
and
still
stuff
drink
like that.
when I bowl, yeah. So I mean, I used to be uh, more or less I was around like the two O's to 215 average for multiple years, and then I started getting a little better, and then I wanted that 220. I never finished with 220 average before in a year. Like I so the one year, a couple years, actually it was the COVID year, right? I was 219 point like 3 or 4, and COVID shut down 4 weeks early. It shut everything down. So we got cut 4 weeks short, and I was so mad I never got to get that chance for 220. So I finished like 219 that year. The next year, I don't even know if it was the next year or 2 years later when I finally got the 220 to finish with. And that was even going back and forth with 219, 220, 219, 220. And then the final week, I needed like a good week, and I shot, I think, a 700 the final week to get to
Oh,
220.
perfect.
So I was happy I finished with 220. Now this year, I'm having such a good year. I'm at 227.9 right now, and I'm tasting 230 now. Like I know that's a stretch. Like 225 would be ideally be good at this point, but I've even dropped like the last 3 weeks too because I didn't hit a 700. Like my average now, looking at it, like I almost need a 700 to go up every week, and I had a nice stretch where I was like 226, and then I had a stretch of 4 out of 5 700s, and a 680 was the one I didn't get, and I opened the 10th frame in that. So
That's
I
the
got up to
worst.
228.9 or something, and then I dropped the last couple of weeks a little bit with a couple high 600s. So, but yeah, I mean, lately I'm looking. My lowest game this year is 166, and that was the second game of the very first week. So that's my low game this year, and I've only got like I looked just recently. I think at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 games out of 69 that are under 200. That's probably the best I've
That's
ever
not.
done.
Yeah, that's really good
Considering
actually.
6 of those are 2 weeks.
Right.
So, and
So,
one of those weeks was I actually pre-bowled because we weren't going to be there, so that hurt.
all right. So, two more bowling questions, and then we'll move on. Bowling question number one: you prefer right hand lanes or left hand lanes?
You mean like other people bowling on it? If you want,
No, no. I'm talking.
or like the
I'm talking
patterns
about
stuff.
next to the ball return.
Oh,
Would you?
that I don't have a. It just depends on what lane's working that day. Because sometimes one lane's. Sometimes there's very rare times where you'll get both lanes are acting different. And I'm using one ball in one lane and the other ball in the other lane, and it
Right.
works sometimes.
Yep.
So I've had that happen.
That's when you start getting really in depth in bowling, when you start picking up stuff like that,
Yes.
because they can run the same oil machine down every single lane with the same pattern, and none of them will be
And
similar to
sometimes
one another.
they're way off. Sometimes
Yep.
it's like that. Actually, was kind of some of the weeks I had bad week were just I just couldn't figure it out because there was one week I bowled with my uncle who's having a bad year, but he can be a 200 bowler easy, and we were on the same pair together bowling each other, and that was my last 500 that I had, and we were both just it was I don't think I mean I hit a lot of head on in that games and those so struggled weeks. Before your other question, I was going to say, because you asked me if I was right or left handed, I have been wanting to learn how to bowl left handed. I have, like, practicing and stuff. I have bowled a couple games left handed every once in a while. After I bowl 3 right handed when I go open bowling or whatever, I'll sometimes bowl a game left handed. I'm usually around 130, 140. But I do have
That's
a.
dude,
My high
that's good.
is a 181 left handed. I want to try to beat that someday. But I don't know how I
That
did it because I never got
people,
it
yeah.
again.
Well, you know what? A lot of here's what irritates me about bowling is no one ever talks about the benefit a left-handed bowler gets over a right-handed bowler.
Yeah, because there's not as many of them usually,
Exactly. So that oil
and they
pattern
get
on
their
that
own
left hand
oil.
side, yep, it
Hmm.
never gets used. Especially if you're practicing and you're going to a house shot. guaranteed you're going to be drier than hell on the right hand side unless you catch it at the right time and they just oiled it, which is so beneficial. Like in Iowa, we knew the owner of the bowling alley, and we'd say, "Hey, man, is there any way you could lay down some oil for me, please?" And 9 times out of 10, he would, because we blew a bunch of money there. But my next question: synthetic or wood?
I've gotten used to synthetic, but my old house that closed, where I bowled for my whole life up until 2017, they closed. That used to be a wood lanes. I do like wood because I like hooking it more if I can. I say that, and sometimes when it's hooking too much or when it's all messed up and it's confusing, it can be a struggle. But at the same time, I like being able to hook it more. So I know wood. Obviously, you can. Then I think our lanes are half synthetic, half perma or something, or like half synthetic or not. And I think they did go actually full synthetic a couple years ago, but they used to be half wood, first half wood, and then synthetic. So I've gotten used to synthetic now, so I don't really have a. I do like wood better. If I would probably bowl good on wood better still, but I've gotten used to it, I guess.
I mean, I'm on the same. I would choose wood over synthetic every day of the week, just for the simple fact the wood absorbs the oil. So as
Yeah.
the temperature changes within the alley, more people get in there. The warmer it gets, that oil comes back. With synthetic, it just pushes. I
It's
mean,
just like bowling on glass is what
right?
everybody. That's what everybody
That's the
says with
best
that.
way to. The only problem with wood is you'll get chunks come up or down, and you'll get ball hop.
Yeah,
So so you
it
got to
can
pick and
happen.
choose your points really well.
It can happen. Yeah, I've
I
had
mean,
seen
obviously that's a poorly taken care of
it.
bowling alley at that point. But with wood, it tends to happen more often. I mean, synthetic. Dude, I've seen so many people launch balls almost up to the roof and drop on the synthetic lane, and it has enough give to rebound, and like they could still shoot a decent shot. And I'm just like, what? I don't understand how they compress those lanes so much to where it has that give. I mean, I'm convinced you can go out there, hit it as hard as you can with a sledgehammer. It's not going to damage it.
I know.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
So minus bowling, minus iRacing, what else is Wesley Strait into? What other hobbies do you
Let's
got
see. What are my
cooking?
notes I wrote down? I go into races. I love going to races. So my my very first race my dad took me to NASCAR wise was New Hampshire. The the weekend Adam Petty got killed. So that was my first ever weekend. So I was there for that weekend there, and I remember too. We actually didn't see the crash happen. We went back to the camper to have lunch. So and we were walking out of the track, and I'm like, I begged my dad to get me the Adam Petty diecast car, and he's like, "We'll get it later." I'm like, "No, can I? I just want to get it now." So I got it. Went back to the camper. Came back over for qualifying. We were wondering why we didn't see him. We didn't know what happened, and we did when we get back over. His trailer was shut down and closed, and all of that. And we didn't find out till later in the campground when my dad went to the bathroom and somebody was over there and told him. So he came back and told us, and we were like, "Holy crap! Wow!" So
Well, and I mean, anything can
that was
happen.
that was 2000.
Yeah,
That was my
that's
first ever weekend.
man. What a mixed up, horrible experience to start off. A racing journey, to so to say. And
And my dad
Bigger's
was
home track
always a
is New
petty.
Hampshire.
What? Oh yeah, I know. I
Bigger's
know
home. Yeah,
and I've been there a lot too. If I try to go this year, I should try to find him.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Yeah,
I
you
tried
guys should
going
get
last
hooked up.
year, but it rained. Went to
Yeah, you
Dover
guys.
last year and it rained. It was
Well, and
last year was rough on my luck. That's all I gotta say. We'll get to that later.
what I've me and John. I can't say me and John. I would like to, and I've talked to John about it, but we were talking about getting everybody together and meeting up in Bristol. And I believe it's in September. But go, get a bunch of chop shop guys there. Get a VRBO or an Airbnb or something. All of us just kind of pitch in, go to the race, play some poker afterwards. Get to know each other, whatever. I
That would be
think
cool.
that'd be pretty. Yeah, I think that'd be beneficial to a lot of people
Definitely one of
because
these years we should definitely try to. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. I was actually talking to Colby because we booked our we're gonna go to Darlington and I want to go to different tracks. I went to the Daytona 500 in '06. That was the only time I've been there. I know they've definitely upgraded the place since then.
big.
Dover. I went to Dover in '04, '05, or no, '04, '06, '07, '08. And then my dad gave up the tickets that he had the year I turned 21 when I could have went in a casino. I was like, really, Dad? Really?
Yeah.
I did go in a casino once there and pulled the thing before I got kicked out. And all I know is I won money in that particular spin. So that was a good. But actually, on that hotel too, there was one year, me and my uncle and my dad went, and I think it was '07, and we went to the hotel because we used to walk around all over the place there. Dover was a party outside the track, man, because we used to camp at the races. So those were the good times. We used to go like Wednesday night, Thursday, and leave Monday morning. So we had a nice long weekend out of it. And, we used to walk around a lot. They used to have all the tents outside, which I don't think seems like a lot of places don't have as much as they used to. But they had millions of tents outside Dover. And they had little, areas, the bars and stuff where drivers would show up. But we went into the hotel and my dad walked into the casino and me and my uncle went to the bathroom. We came out. My uncle was standing there looking off, and I'm like, I came out. I'm like, that bathroom, man, I almost got lost in there. It was like a whole like circle or something. You had to walk in and walk around like this, and so I came out and said that, and he's looking like, that's Richard Petty. And he didn't even have his hat on either. But I got Richard Petty's autograph on one of my Kenseth hats somewhere around here. I don't know where it is. So I did get to meet Richard Petty, and Bobby Allison another time.
What's really cool about that? Church actually met Richard Petty too. I believe at Knoxville, the dirt track. I don't know what he was doing there. I'm sure it was for the truck series or whatever. But he actually got a picture with the King. I'm clearly not a Richard Petty fan, but I am a race car fan, obviously. So I mean, given the opportunity, even if it's somebody I didn't like, I would still like to meet, I guess.
I'm like that too, because I can't stand really Logano, but I'd still go get his autograph and say hi to him or whatever. And
so
like when you're in the moment, it's like you still
right.
Go see him. What?
I mean, the only person I wouldn't go out of my way to see is Denny Hamlin. I can't stand Denny Hamlin. If I would walk right by him, and if he's like, "Oh, hey man, what's going on?" I'd be like, "Get the hell away from me, dude. I don't like you. You rich entitled
win your championship.
POS.
We'll focus on that."
Yeah, exactly. you has been piece of trash. I don't know. I'm probably a little more. I don't know. I shouldn't be like that toward people, but I am.
My dad was the big Petty fan too, so that was his favorite. Kyle Petty. We liked Adam, and he was the one that missed it because he was in the casino.
Are you a big Ford guy?
It doesn't matter that much. I mean, I was because of Kenseth, and then he moved to Toyota. So then it doesn't. I mean, I had a Ford Mustang, so I guess before I got in an accident with it, I missed that car though. But
was it old Fox body?
It was an older 1999 Mustang, so I had a nice blue. Yeah, and I had a low mileage on it when I got it too. I got it really cheap.
Ford does that right. I wish Chevy would do the same thing with the Camaro and make them more affordable for your general users. And then, if you want to spice it up, obviously, Mustang has the GT, the Shelby version. I mean, so many different build styles to it. When you got Camaros, I know Callaway was doing their little touch on them for a little bit. But other than that, it wasn't, they made an NHRA version of the Camaro that you had to have an NHRA license for. I think that thing was putting out like 1,200 to the rear wheels, which is crazy,
That's
But
another thing we can get to.
I wish they
NHRA,
would make them more affordable, like Mustang did. I mean, because you build a larger consumer base, on it, and I think Toyota should do the same thing with, like the Supra. Dodge. I mean, Dodge. I hate Dodge. I got nothing positive to say about Mopar. I mean, they made a Cummins, which was awesome. They made the Slant 6, which was you couldn't break a Slant 6. But I mean, other than that,
I
I'm
liked
not.
the Dodge Daytona with the
The
wing.
Daytona.
Like
that was a nice. I mean, and that truck was. I think that truck was supercharged, wasn't it?
I don't know.
I want to say it was. Who knows? I'd have to go back. I'd have to go back and look. What? I mean, so obviously you've been a race fan your
for
entire
a long
life,
time. Yes,
right?
yes.
Which is awesome. Are you one of those guys that heard about iRacing through Dale Jr. talking about it and whatnot? Like it seems
I've
like
known
everybody
about
else.
it for a long time, and I've kept telling myself I really want iRacing someday, but I never had like a computer. I always had. Now, I used to have back like Windows 98 and stuff like that. Windows XP. I used to have a desktop, but then I started getting laptops just to be able to take anywhere with me, and I never really had a desktop for forever. And then one day um my cousin I was buying a computer and put it together, and then bought bought the parts and we put it together. So we both kind of did it off of his. So we did it together. Me and my cousin, we kind of learned how to do it together. I still couldn't tell you every step right now in my head, but doing it, it was fun to do. Being able to build my own PC and all that. And I remember I did it at the end of 2020 too. Not gonna lie, the stimulus helped a little bit. Those stimulus checks you were getting, I was like, kind of want to get a PC and finally get iRacing because one of my friends got it and was talking about it. It just got him. Like, I really making me itch for it now. And I'm like, I'll just buy a PC. I'll only need it for like iRacing and Flight Simulator, which is another great game that I found out about. So I'm like, I just need it for that. Here, my Steam list has about 55 games on it. It just you can't escape it. You think you're only gonna get it for that, and then you're like, oh, that game looks good. And American Truck Simulator, and then you got this game, and then you got this game, and it turned into a. Now I play on PC a lot too, just as much as a PlayStation 5 that I have. So it's weird
I
how
don't
that
think.
works.
I don't think. My problem is because I've always been a gamer myself, and my mom had a degree in networking, and I always thought like I was destined to be in the computer world for whatever reason. And I'm kind of like you. I like to tinker, especially when I was learning. So building a computer was like Linus Tech Tips would teach you anything and everything there is to know about building a PC at that particular time. So
There's always one little stupid step that you're stuck on. That's the simplest thing too.
well,
Never forget.
or you get that thing put together and you forget, oh, I forgot to put the RAM in. Then you got to
Yeah.
move a radiator or whatever.
Well, yeah, since I got, did the original PC thing, I've eventually I had originally 16 gigabytes of RAM. Since I've had it, I have gotten another 16, so I have 32 now. And then I have bought a second SSD card. It was a stick because there was another spot for that. And then I just recently, Black Friday, bought the SATA 3 port for the SSD, another additional 4 terabyte because I have so many games now. So now I have an external SSD inside too. So I have 3 SSDs. I have about 5 or 6 external hard drives because I have tons of pictures from all the races I go to, which I have my own like photography page on Facebook. quick plug. So I take pictures and everything race I go to and put them up too. So I do that a lot. And I like all motorsports too. Like, and I finally went to my first NFL game this past year. I've been to a college game with Army and Rutgers before at West Point, but finally went because I'm a Titans fan. Don't ask. I don't know why. Sometimes I wasn't happy when they fired Vrabel, but my dad's a Steelers fan, so the Titans played the Steelers in Pittsburgh, and it was a Thursday night game. So we drove out there Wednesday. I left work early. We drove out there, drove to Ohio just by Canton, and went to the Hall of Fame that Thursday before we drove to Pittsburgh after. So that was a fun trip. We went in November. I was glad it was early November because I didn't want to be freezing out there in December. So
Right.
otherwise, it probably wouldn't have went. But it was a fun time. And but I've been to Supercross. I've been to Monster Jam. I've been to World of Outlaws. I've been NASCAR. I've been to NHRA a bunch. What else? I mean, Supercross and Motocross, so the outdoor season and the indoor. I've seen a lot of different things. I have not been to an IndyCar race yet. That would be a bucket list thing for me. I'd love to go to the Rolex 24. That's always been one race I've been wanting to go to forever. What else? I've been to. So the tracks I've been to was Daytona, I mentioned, Dover, like 6 times, New Hampshire about 9 or 10, maybe even more. So New Hampshire's like one of the closest tracks to me. And I went to Watkins Glen once and Pocono a couple times. So Pocono, New Hampshire, and Watkins Glen are like 3 hours and 20 minutes to 3 hours and 40 minutes away in 3 different directions.
All around you. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm only that close to Watkins Glen. Every year I keep saying I want to go to the 6 hours at a Glen at least. Haven't gotten there yet either. I'd love to see.
Well, I mean, and in today's economy, man, it's hard to afford anything. You know, like you were saying, you know, your stimulus check to help you build your rig. I mean, I was going to pay for mine over a course of time, and being in Discord and watching you guys race, I was like, I can't wait anymore. I went out, I took a loan out to build mine, and I'm like, I'm not waiting anymore, you know. So I just did it all at once.
I mean,
I do not suggest that.
Yeah, no, yeah. I don't even have I would love a rig. I just have like one of the steering wheel stands I bought for like $60 and a chair in front of it. But
so what wheel and pedals do you use?
That's another thing. I have an old Logitech G29 I've had for like 7-8 years, and I keep, Colby just got this Fanatec and is talking about all this direct drive, and I'm like, God, I would just love to have that someday.
I mean, it'll happen in time.
Eventually,
at its own pace. You know what though? Everybody hates when I bring Nate up because they're like, "Oh, you're Nate's dick," blah 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 blah. But he's always a good example, right? He's always up front, and his rig folds up, which they're inexpensive. They really are. And here you are, you're using the G29, which is what I started on back in the day.
I had that with the PlayStation before I even had the PC.
Right.
That thing.
And I've seen you run up front and win races, so it doesn't matter what you're on. It's not going to make you better or worse. Does it gain an advantage as you develop your skill? Yeah, of course it does. I got all the feeling in the world in my wheel. I could tell you every bump on every track just based off, the wheel and the direct drive. But you beat me every week, so who's really at the advantage here? You know what I mean? I might have all the bells and whistles, but you're still going to smoke me,
I mean, it could be. I'm very used to it. I know if I got the newer wheel, it'd probably take a little more extra getting used to because you're getting used to something completely different. I guess I'm just so used to this thing, and I've played racing games my entire life. Racing and sports games are my biggest things. I love playing Call of Duty, but my God, I mean, my videos are funny because of my frustration every time I get killed every 2 seconds. So, But other than that, I mostly racing and college football was my. I cannot wait for that game to come out. I know you
Did you see
don't
my
care, but
post in
yeah, I
there?
did. I did.
It was I kept seeing it, and well, I was in the middle of working, and everybody was blowing up. I kept getting all these Discord updates, and I was like, "What the hell are these idiots talking about? That's so damn important." So I get on there, and I said what I said, and I hope everybody thought it was as funny as I thought it was as I was writing it down. But anyways, that's nor here nor there. I do have a good question for you, and I know a lot of people would like me to ask this question, and I like to press issues just a little bit.
Oh boy.
How it's a two-parter here. A, how did you get hooked up with Colby? B, how the hell do you put up with him? Is he annoying to you as he is to
No,
everybody else?
um, funny enough, I met Colby through NASCAR Heat 2 League. And, all the NASCAR heats through there. And then when I got to iRacing, I found out he had it too. And then we happened to find Jason's league that he was starting in 21, I believe it was, the beginning of 21, which I just got iRacing in the PC in like September of 2020. So was um I was just getting it. So they didn't know if they should let me into the league or not because my I rating and everything wasn't all the way up because
Right.
I didn't really do officials either the first like 3 months. I was doing a lot of testing on my own and stuff like that, so I didn't really build my stuff up in the beginning. So I think leagues actually make you a better racer than anything else. Just when you get
100%.
used to racing with people, you can go harder. Now I've always been very like cautious and not wanting to push the issue because I didn't want to get anybody mad at me, especially in the beginning. Even in the NASCAR heat, when I got in my first league, I gave room so much, and then it got to the point where I was almost like up front, dominating all the time. Once you start, you know, feeling it better, it becomes a lot easier than it did when you first started. But I always used to try to let everybody have the room and didn't want to get in anybody's bad side. And then when I felt comfortable being able to push it, I was able to do it. And then I'm like, wow, I'm a lot faster than I thought I was.
Right.
So it makes a difference.
Well, and I think that's the transition I'm in right now. It's it, there's two types of guys. Type A is the guy that has the speed but can't stay out of trouble. I would call those guys like the Brad Doves. Dove is fast. He just can't stay out of trouble. And then there's guys that stay out of trouble that don't have the speed. And I'm probably in that group. But I'm working on staying out of trouble. I can run top 10 in Chop Shop. I know I can. And that speaks volume because Chop Shop is they're good. Everybody in there's good. And
Yeah, it's a
I just
great
got to,
league.
I got to stay out of the trouble to get there. So part two of the question, putting up with Colby. Does he listen? Shoot me straight. Who cares if he sees this or not? Because I hope he
You know
does.
he's gonna watch it.
Oh
He's
yeah, it's gonna
definitely
be
gonna watch it.
phenomenal. I
Um,
just want to know if he's as annoying to you as he is to everybody else. Has he in your guys' league been like, listen, guys, you got to listen. I'm the greatest thing since peanut butter, and I'm gonna money shift this damn race and take out half the field, and then eat crow at the end of it and not say a damn word to anybody.
oh, that was funny. Yeah, he goes, oh, that was my bad. Oh, everybody's gonna hate me for that one. Uh, I'm like, well, good thing I was so far back that I was able to just stop on the front stretch and wait for
No
everybody to
kidding.
clear up. But that was a whole mess because I ended up going a lap down anyway because I was behind the pace car and it said pit lane open. I
Oh,
didn't know the pace car was still in front of me, so I pitted and I was still behind the pace car. I got trapped a lap down. However, I was able to get the
damn.
lap back. Um, Now I started the truck season. I missed the first three races because I was running another league, and on Tuesdays when we had a little break and all that, and I wanted to finish that one before I started this one. I really regret that now. I mean, I had a good year in that too because they were running with the ARCA cars, which I like. They're fun to drive too. And I am upset I missed Dover because Dover's one of my favorite tracks, and that was the last one I missed. But then I know Nate was winning, and then I jumped in and won Michigan, which that was my first truck win. And then I won the next week at Rockingham, and I was like, I don't know where this is coming from. And then I just kept looking, finishing top four, top four, top four, top four, top four. I'm like, well, then I'm like, last week I was like, well, Auto Club this week, that's kind of rough because if I can get caught up in the wrong thing. I gave up on it before that caution came out. I stayed out too long. I stayed out an extra lap. I even tried to save a little, like a half a lap to go an extra lap, thinking it would work. I lost ground and I was just maybe going to make the top 10. And then the caution came out and then it grouped everybody up. And then the wreck happened. And then I snuck through it. And here I'm in fourth again. I was like, am I really possibly going to get another top 4 finish and keep this streak going? Every time I look, being like, oh, it's going to end at that track. Like Phoenix is coming up soon. Milwaukee could be a hit or miss. I have hardly run there, but I'm sure a lot of people haven't. So that could be, I think I'll be okay there. But Phoenix is not one of my strongest tracks. So I'm like, it might end there, but who knows? You never know. It's just weird how it's been falling my way finally. It usually doesn't. And then I go out in Daytona in the road course and get caught up in that lap 1 thing. And everybody,
let's talk about the road course aspect because I mean I don't know if you've been watching the broadcast, but you get brought up almost every week because I watched you race the 12 or 24-hour Daytona race with everybody, and you did really well. So I had extremely high expectations for you last night, and
I was so looking forward to Daytona too. That was one I was looking forward to.
I mean, the all 3 races this year, you've been down and out. What is going on over there?
I finished good at Sebring. I think I finished 4th in GT.
Okay.
So and that's another one I know I'm good at. Like, all right, Daytona, Bathurst, Sebring, Road Atlanta, like all the endurance racetracks. I know I'd be really good at because we've run there so much. And then Imola, I didn't practice. I had a fever. I was all messed up, and I was just didn't practice. So I had no warm up, and I was going off track a little bit here and there. And then I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I was starving because I haven't eaten all day because I was sick. So I ended up stopping. And I got to drive through anyway because I got so many X's. And then, I mean, road is not my strongest thing. I'm usually could be decent, but I'm not one to usually be fast in all the road courses and endurance races. I try to be the one to not make mistakes more. So like in Daytona and stuff, I'm not the fastest one. I know Colby and Nate are that part, and I'll try to be the one to keep average good and keep the car safe as much as I can. And I was really looking forward to Daytona because I know that track so well.
Right.
And we all unchecked our fast repairs before the race. And then then that big wreck happened in turn 1. I thought I missed it. I went wide, and that hit. I don't know if you watched the replay with it because I didn't get to see it, the broadcast. If you watch the replay, I got hit in the left front wheel, not that hard at all, and it gave me a meatball. And I pitted, forgot to check the fast repair, and it was like 8 minutes of damage. And then I'm like, whatever. I didn't even go back out. I just killed my mood because I love Daytona and never got to finish the race. It just
especially at Daytona when everybody else is just as good at it. Because I mean, you've ran a lot of the endurance races. Nate runs it. Colby runs it. Gene probably runs it. A lot of those guys up front typically run it.
Yes.
So it's going to be a race regardless. And believe it or not, I think it was one of the more boring races that we had because everybody kind of fell in line. And then I hate it when an accident happens right out of the gate because it separates the field. I want the field to be together at least through the first 5 turns because then you're going to see that competitive edge on everybody. Do you think do you think it's better to be safe than fast, or fast versus safe?
It depends on the track for me. I know some tracks are very like Bathurst is one that is very. You make one little mistake. Now I did a VRS race last night because I want to start practicing for it. I made the first mistake at Bathurst I have in a while, and I was like, I need to do it again to get that out of my head before because we're doing the Bathurst 12 this Saturday. So we're doing another endurance race, and I got to put up a Colby another 12 hours. I think we're doing it with Stryker and Pat. I don't know if Nate was going to do it with us or not. I don't know if we're getting too many people because it's only a 12-hour race, but I know some tracks. I know I could be fast. Like Daytona, Daytona and Sebring, I was pretty fast as well as trying to be conservative because I know the track so well. In Mola, have not run there that much, so it was like now what's the next race? Hungaroring.
Uh,
I
Hungarian,
could
yeah.
not tell you the layout of that track, so I don't know what that's going to bring.
Well, and that's we got. I mean, we got a week off
Yeah, we got
before
a
we
week
get
off.
there.
Yeah.
So I mean, I mean, I would probably highly suggest to anybody watching this that is planning on running that practice next Wednesday at least. Just run 100 laps there, and you'll be shocked at what you pick up and how good you'll be during race time.
It's nice to
I
have
mean,
the week off after this endurance 12-hour Bathurst, because we're going to be mentally exhausted after that one's over. We finished second in that last year. Me, Pat, and Andrew and Colby finished second in that thing last year. We wanted that win so bad, but we had weird things happen in that race. There were people losing connections, and Pat lost connection while he was in the car, and it meatballed us for
that's
like
rough.
6 minutes or something like that. So we've had weird things happen. We could have been right there in the. We finished second at Road Atlanta in the Petite Le Mans, and I was actually on the. We were on the lead. We were like 25, 30 seconds back of winning that. So we've had close moments, but
You
someday
know,
we'll win
well,
one.
and at the beginning, before the Daytona took off, I don't know if Colby ever said anything to you or not, because I don't know how your guys' team works, if there's somebody in charge or it's everybody's input type of thing. But he did offer for me to run with you guys, and I told him, I was like, Colby, I'd love to. I was like, A, I'm not fast.
Oh, for the
B,
24.
right. I said B, I don't have a GT wheel. I would love to do it if I had a GT wheel, just so I have the paddle shifters at my fingertips, and I'll have to drive one handed because the force feedback will kill you anyways. Um, but he's like, listen, man, I don't care if you're fast or not. I care if you can keep the car in one piece, which I am confident enough that I could stay on track and at least put in my time, worth it. And I was hoping that I would be ready in time for this Bathurst, but the way life has worked, I haven't had a chance to get a GT wheel yet. So one of these days, I plan on. I would like to run with you guys and pick
Yeah,
your
I would like
brains
to
and all.
try to get where we can have maybe multiple cars, and maybe we can try to work on getting in the same split. We could like separate like the 12 hours. We don't need that many, so we can do 4 and 4 or 3 and 3 or something like that. And we could try to get two little teams that can do it. And I like making my paint schemes, and I every time I make a paint scheme, I always every car always do like a paint scheme with the opposite colors or something, like switch the colors around. I
Right.
don't know. I just have that habit of doing it, and I just it looks good, and I like running them both, and I do that. I don't know if you noticed, a lot of ours, me and Kobe's in the road are gonna match like opposites.
Yep.
So
Well, and I mean, hey, man, I like that too because it's easier for me, especially as a broadcasting standpoint. If I broadcast, it's easy to tell who's who. If I see blue lightning and storm on the side, I know it's either you or Colby, and it's just it. Like I don't know what if you guys have different colored cars right now in the road course series, but I always typically just look at the number. I know if
yeah,
it's 14 or 23 or whatever car he's running.
the
I
one
know
we
it's
ran at
Colby, and you're normally 89. So
the one we ran at Daytona was the same one we ran from week one, which are like Kobe's had the blue front and the red back, and mine was the red front and blue back. So it was
Okay.
just the opposite. But I have a couple. There's like 6 different schemes I've made of opposites that we were gonna run, and we just got to the point. We got around to this week where we didn't plan it quick enough, so we just ran the same one from week one. That
So why hasn't the guys in Chop Shop been seeing a lot of you? I mean, minus the sickness stuff. I mean, it's just work getting in the way, life in general.
yeah. And plus sometimes if I'm on late, I don't want to get in because then I'll never go to bed. So I look at
Hey
that and be
man,
like,
I
if I
understand.
jump in there, I'll never because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go to bed early tonight, and then it's 2:30 a.m. and I'm like, I probably should go to bed, and then I wake up the next day and
Dragon.
regret every moment of that, and then I do the same thing the next day. So
Well,
sometimes,
so you're on the East Coast because you're in
yeah,
New York, right? Yeah.
yep,
So I mean, I get, I love the fact that they base the race time Eastern Standard Time, but the downside to that is when it hits 10 o'clock their time, it's 11 our time. So it's weird because what is it? Striker's in Arizona, so he's 2 hours behind us.
him
So
and
I mean,
Pat, yeah,
when we're done at 11, they're done at 9. But if we were to move the race any sooner, some of those guys won't be able to race because we're talking about starting the race at like 5, 6 o'clock, and those guys are just getting home.
yeah,
So it's a really finicky. It's hard all the way around. Unfortunately, it's those guys as of right now have the benefit for time slots. Me personally, I think the races should start at 7:30 and practices start at 6:30 to kind of. I think that's probably the perfect medium, to be honest with you. Because if it what 7 6, so that would start at 5:30 their time. So it's hard. I think we should try it at least just to see what the turnout is.
yeah,
And go from there. Because dude, I'm in the same boat with you. I would much rather be done with league night at 8:30, 9:30, max 10, to where I could actually get a decent amount of sleep versus staying up till 11 o'clock and then you shoot the shit with the guys in Discord a little bit, etc. Maybe that's something we'll talk about and see if we can't
I know because when
just try it out.
we were in the Chop Shop Discord for our 24 hours of Daytona, and um the now I love putting like I have a bunch of funny clips and stuff that I've clipped in the past of all my videos. I've been like streaming since 2017, 16, late 16, and had so many funny moments that I finally decided one day to make a bunch of best of videos. And man, when we were in that, I could tell you there was a lot of funny moments from that 24 hour. Those endurance races can lead to a lot of moments during that race, man.
I
Especially when
think
you're in the
Andrew
chat with
killed that for
everybody.
you guys.
Yeah, I know. Cool.
I'm calling you out, Andrew. You fucked it up for everybody.
Twice.
Striker twice. Yeah, that guy just wasn't having a day.
He was not, and he ran. He ran a Daytona 24 with friends in an LMP2, and ran. Seemed like ran. I looked at the results, and he was average wise decent with speed. So I don't know. That was kind of funny how it just. And we were having a good race too. We were in the top, made the top four a couple times, and um, kept losing it. But man, those races, so much happened through that thing. You never know.
So do you? I from what I'm taking it as is you have a bit of insomnia. Is probably the best way I would put it. Most people that
Yeah,
operate on 2 3 hours of sleep,
yeah, I do that way too.
and
It's
they
bad.
for whatever reason they just. I mean, for me, I can't shut my brain off when I lay down in bed. I'm just thinking
That's
about
pretty much yeah.
right.
And
So so do you think that benefits you as a driver when you are doing those endurance races?
I don't even know. It's just like a whole nother. It's weird because I keep telling myself I want to go to sleep, but then my brain kicks in and be like, well, if I fall asleep, I might not. I'll be afraid I'm not getting back up or something.
Right.
So and then here I am. I just like literally sat here and just closed my eyes, and I dozed off because I could hear me snoring in the stream a little bit. Colby even
That's
heard it too
awesome.
because he mentioned it. But I think I got maybe 40 minutes total of sleep during that 24 hours of Daytona that we did, and then I got right back in the car and I was more awake than I was the first time I was in the car because I got in the car at like 4:30 or 5:30 a.m. or something. So it was weird how sometimes that works.
I want to kind of go back real quick. I'm trying not to jump around too much, but we're both just kind of going with the flow here.
Yeah.
Um, Back to the personal life stuff. When it comes to work or getting sick or anything like that. Um, what's the home life like? Do you have a wife? Do you have kids? I mean, what sort of responsibilities is I mean, what's your day to day, entail, to where, maybe you can move some stuff around to race a little more. I mean, because I do think I speak for everybody, Wesley, that we would like to see more of you because you are a good competitor. You race super clean, and I I know last season we definitely seen a lot more of you, and you were always somebody I like to gauge what I'm doing personally because you'll find Wesley either in the middle pack, sometimes he's in the back, but at the end of the day, he's always going to the front,
I'm
almost
not
every season.
not a good qualifier. I don't think I ever started in the top 10 in the trucks this year.
Yeah,
So I like qualify mid pack, but I race better than I used to always be better at like saving my tires more and saving fuel back in NASCAR heat days. So I'm better at all that. So I'm not as fast on like hot lapping. Maybe once in a great while I'll like throw one quick lap out and surprise myself, but usually usually I'm qualifying mid pack and work my way to the front. And I have a girlfriend I live with. She has a daughter, so she gets sick. She probably brings stuff back from daycare a lot because
all
she's
the
actually
time.
turning
Mine
5
do.
this weekend.
Oh, nice.
So, um, which is why I kind of mentioned doing this today because she's having the party tomorrow. So I knew trying to squeeze that in. That's why if you said you were doing the cup race, I was like, well, it'd be harder to fit it in. So I figured today would be better. And
Well,
so,
yeah, I try working around people's schedules just because like I'm fortunate enough that 9 times out of 10 I have Fridays off, so it works out because I don't my kids aren't screaming in the background. Um, so I'm either way, it doesn't matter, man. I want everybody to hear what you have to say. Whether it's important or not, people will form a better opinion about you putting a voice to the face versus just hearing you talk.
yeah,
Um so how stupid question. How long you and the old lady been together?
2 years next month.
2 years living together,
Yeah.
2 years. Um uh I
She loves watching me race once in a while too, so she
this
lets me do it. She loves when I do it, so that helps a
Well,
lot.
and there's nothing better than having a supportive wife. Roberts' old lady watches all the time. Rayburn's old lady
she
watches all the time.
That's another story I can go on quick too with it. She never used to be into racing, and I have a buddy that races pro stocks on dirt at my one of my local tracks at Lebanon Valley Speedway, and I help him out every Saturday. So a lot of I'm either pretty much the entire season bowling on Saturdays or at the track, literally one right into the next, the way they work. Because
So,
that ends Labor Day weekend, and we start bowling the week after. That goes right into our high low is April 20th, which is our warm ups. So literally every weekend on Saturdays, I'm usually busy, unless we're going somewhere like a couple of weeks. Sometimes I'll miss, but I help him out, and I took her. She loved it, especially being down in the pits and all that stuff. So then we went. I took her to Dover for the first time. She was blown away when she walked up to the track. It's like that feeling you still get it when you walk into the
yeah.
track and just like even like walking in the Yankee Stadium or something too. Like anytime you walk into a stadium or something, you just see the field or see the track. It's just like goosebumps
TV
and stuff.
TV does none
No
of these any
justice. Yeah.
justice, right?
Especially, I tell people all the time, NHRA is something everybody has to experience it in their life because cannot explain that to anybody. So I took her to Dover, and now this is the luck we've had since we've been together too. Seems like because I used to go to races all the time. I don't think I've ever really been to a rain out. I've been to rain delays, but then we went to Dover the first year. Now this is the first year I went back to Dover since '08, which was 22. I went to Dover. We went just for Sunday, and it's a 5-hour drive, so it's a hard one to do in one day. And that's why we used to always camp down there. So we, went to the track. They got 76 laps in. We never even got to the seats. She didn't want to move from standing on the stairs in the corner, like on the edge of the stairs when they were coming flying by. She didn't even want to go to the seat. So we never even saw what the seats looked like. And so that was the year it ran 76 laps, and then the rain came,
Right.
and it got pushed, and we never got to finish. I was mad. I was so upset. I love how rain just kill moods just like that. And I didn't want to leave. And I had Monday off, but she had to get back for her daughter and stuff to take her to school or daycare and stuff on Monday. So, and then when we were coming back too, because it's such a long drive in one day to do that, we're like 3.5 hours away still, and we actually pulled over and tried to sleep for an hour in a rest area because we were both tired. And we got back at like 3 a.m. and we left at like 5 a.m. So it was a long day. So then we were like, next year, or we went to New Hampshire that year at least. We got to see that race. My dad went with me, and my stepmom. So the four of us went to New Hampshire, and I think that was when Christopher Bell won in 22. Yes, and then so I'm like, we went back to Dover in 23 last year. And then we went. Her sister lives in Baltimore, so it's about an hour and a half from the track. So we just stayed there and went to the track each day. Well, Friday, complete washout, rain. Saturday, they got Saturday in, so we saw the Arca East and the Xfinity and the little AC/DC type or band that played AC/DC songs, and they were really good. Never actually got to see AC/DC live. That's one I would love to see, but
Absolutely.
never got to see them. And then so we got to go Saturday and we got to see the Xfinity race. And then Sunday got rained out too. Never had the race. So I bought the ticket package so cheap. It was like $197 for both of us for all 3 days. Such a great deal. And got to see one day of racing. So the Friday too, that the day it rained, they still had the trailers like half open. So because there was nothing to do, guess who spent way more money than I wanted to spend? That was not planned, but I guess when there's nothing else to do, you just go ballistic on spending money.
Well, I mean, you
So,
got nothing better to do.
so last year it started with Dover. Now we went actually, yeah, Dover
Here,
was first. What?
hold on real
Okay.
quick before you go into the story. Lead off where you were, Bros.
All right. So I had to write it down so I didn't forget. I'll make sure. So we're talking about Dover. So 2023 was like so we started off this way. The Dover rained out Friday, rained out Sunday. um, and even had a hair of a sprinkle on Saturday that canceled Cup qualifying. But we got to see him practice at least beforehand. And then we went to the Supercross at MetLife Stadium at the end of that month. They race in the rain, but of course we get lightning, so they had to wait about an hour and a half. We had a delay, but we did get to see the finish. So it was fun watching them race in the rain, the mud, and plus we were in the second tier underneath, so we didn't have to
Right.
move. We got to
Oh,
stay there. So everybody else had to evacuate their seats and move in. So we didn't have to move. So there was that. And then we went to New England Dragway at Epping, New Hampshire for the NHRA weekend. We went Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Friday we went. Friday was a good day. It was 92 degrees, and it was so hot that maybe 2 nitro cars made it down the track fully. And then Saturday, it was they started, and then it was like this mist sprinkle all weekend, which is the most annoying rain you can possibly. I'd rather just pour on me. That's all you got to do. I mean, the good thing with rain with NHRA, because you can walk up and down the pits and probably catch the drivers, but it was so on and off every like hour and a half, just to the point where they were just about to start another sprinkle coming. I'm looking like there's no clouds, and like it must be like blowing in from away or something. It was that light, and it just kept annoying it. So Saturday they got one run in Saturday before all this, and it was 52 degrees as a high. So it went from 92 degrees Friday to Saturday, Sunday being a high of 52. Good old northeast. So then it rained on and off, and they canceled it. And then there was this Star Speedway that was right like a couple minutes away that we were going to go check out for something, in a little asphalt quarter-mile oval. So we heard they were still racing, so we went, got to see a couple races there. Rained. Then they ended up calling. I should have did this. I regret not doing this. They were calling for whoever had a car in the grandstand to go out, get your car, and go ride around the track to try to dry it.
Oh, I would have done that in a second.
I should have done it. And I'm watching people do it, and it looks so much fun. And then, so hour and a half or so of that go by. They were just getting ready to come back out. Guess what happens again? Rain. And then Sunday, we go to the track. Didn't get anything in. Rained on and off. Same sprinkle all day long. They called it. So it literally like rained that whole weekend. We're gonna go back this year only because we can go in Sunday for free. So we're gonna go there. So that got rained out, and then I had tickets to New Hampshire for the Cup race, and then they had tornado warnings out there that day. Didn't end up driving out because I didn't think they were gonna get it in. They called that race too. Didn't go to that one either. So I had a voucher from that race. Actually, the voucher for that race was used from the Dover voucher that I didn't get to go to. This was all last year. Can't even make this up. And so I was like, we need to go to Maple Grove because I took her. That was the first NHRA race I took her to. I'm like, you got to stand right here, stand behind the car. You'll love it. It's great. It's great. Breathe in that nitro. It's good for you.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I don't think anybody ever realizes how hard those cars snap off the line. It's instant. Just instant.
And if you watch down the track, like videos down the track, it's anything but going straight. Oh, and they're in the car like this.
They're wheeling the hell out of it.
It's not just 100%. Driving straight. I don't care what anybody says. So
that's why on those actual tracks, like to use for reference, like Street Outlaws, when they were actually still in actual street cars, those guys would stick and go. Fuck.
When I walk away from it now, which is good sometimes, until you have groceries or something on the other side of the car and you walk around the other side and it locks by the time you get there. It's annoying sometimes.
All right. Anyways, NHRA, you took her to the first race. Stand behind the car, smell the alcohol.
Yeah.
She love it?
She didn't like me for a couple minutes there. She was not too happy, but it's one of those things. Don't know what to
expect.
Yeah, I know exactly. So I'd love taking first timers
or something, didn't you? Like earplugs at least.
She did. I think she had earplugs.
You got to give them earplugs, brother. They'll get pissed off.
She loves the noise. I mean,
At first, though, you always gotta give them earplugs because then you gotta let them like, I want to hear the sound myself, or whatever. Um, one of the things I did want to ask you, um, because you got a girlfriend of 2 years, you guys live together. She has a daughter. Um, you saying that, I'm assuming that that child is not yours.
Right.
Um, a, it's I'm not a quote unquote step parent, and you clearly are. Is it hard to find a balance for you between, you know, hobbies and
And
keeping the
this
wife and kid happy?
not hard. I mean, sometimes it can be like when I'm trying to do stuff like stream stuff for my channel, but I try to you know be on both sides. So it's I mean she likes when I race, so that helps. And then I usually she likes when I go down and lay with her when she goes to sleep. Sometimes she goes so early, like I'm like I don't want to lay down now. Are you kidding me? I have
Right.
caught myself actually falling asleep at like 9:30 before. Like very rarely, if I do that, sometimes I'll fall asleep because I'm sometimes tired, but I push myself sometimes to stay awake. And
Yeah, I think. Listen, when it comes to being the step in a relationship, it takes a very special individual to play that role because I wouldn't say you're walking on eggshells, but I'm going to say you're walking on eggshells because there's a fine line of, especially like, let's use for discipline as the primary example, because that's where a lot of people downfall. If the primary parent doesn't support the secondary parent on how they feel it should be approached or taken care of, there's a lot of hostility there. Um, so the fact that you're clearly doing it right is
I hope I
man,
am.
you got all the respect in the world from me. I
It's
mean,
it's hard sometimes, but like I know, especially because I know that. I mean, she doesn't ask too much of it because she knows. I mean, it's not her dad is still like he has her a couple times a week, so we don't have her every day, so it helps us. But like sometimes I know it. Like sometimes she can get hyper, and especially some nights she gets cranky and hyper, and or sometimes we go to the store and I go with her because I know she'll like sometimes it's not as much now, but she used to try to run around, and I'm old for that now. Um, it feels can't do it like I used to run around when I
no,
used to
I
play,
no
but um,
nobody can.
but obviously I know she gets overwhelmed sometimes, and I try to be there for her. Sometimes she gets it's too much, and I try to stay away a little bit because I know she's going through a lot, and she sometimes wants to be alone. So there's that too. Um, even though I sometimes I try to get be with her too much when in those moments. So and she keeps telling me she wants to be alone. I'm like, I'm trying to help you. Like I don't know.
Well, I mean
I mean good.
that brother. That's every guy on the planet. Like
Yeah.
we are built to fix things. That's our job. Women are built to nurture things. That's their job. And long story short, that little girl, she's that's priority. Always priority. Whether she needs to. I'll be honest with you. I got divorced. I have two older children with my ex-wife, and obviously they have a stepdad. It took me and my ex-wife 8 years to be able to like reconcile our differences to where we can like co-parent on a good level. On top of just that, the step person always comes into play because I mean they're going to play a major role regardless.
hmm
So I mean you're going to play a major role in this young lady's life. Obviously I pray to God everything lasts forever for you guys. I know it always doesn't play out like that, but if it does, you know I don't know what relationship you have with the dad.
Well, that's a
But
funny thing I was going to get to too.
if you don't, I would suggest navigating something to that, because obviously two men having a mutual respect for one another and the same goal, is priority number one for the daughter.
What's the funny thing? You just brought that up. He knows about me and everything. We have actually never met, and I'm actually he's going to be at the party tomorrow. So that would be
That's good. That's good.
yeah. So,
If all three
his
of you can
girlfriend,
have,
she met his girlfriend a couple months ago for the first time, and
that's good.
So that'll be interesting.
You guys just got to show that all the parents are always on the same page for the child.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, it's super easy. I mean, it's almost beneficial for the child at that point, especially once they get to a united front, the parents, the child reaps all the rewards, 2 Christmases, birthdays, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and it's like, hey, the kid got bad grades, so everybody's like, well, you also reap the consequences too, because you're not going to get chewed out once, you're going to get chewed out twice, type of thing. You know what I mean?
She'll be starting kindergarten in September, and I never actually thought about this until now. Thank you. Is that I'm probably gonna have to remember some schoolwork sometimes now, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't remember what the heck happened yesterday.
Brother, I got 5 kids, and it gets hectic.
Well, I was gonna say something else too. I think with that. I don't remember now. I forgot. Maybe we'll come back to it.
But no, man, that's awesome. I know it's a touchy subject for most people, because this is your personal life, obviously, and it's going to be on the internet. So
we get along so great, though. I love her so much. So
that's
so
all.
If you watch this back, babe, I love you. I'm saying it right here. Even don't get mad about it. If anything happened before that you didn't like, I mean well all the time. All the time.
Oh yeah,
I mean, she knows I'm doing it.
Clearly you care deeply for this person's. You know what? What's funny about this whole thing? Long story short, I'm not going to go into detail on what this individual said, but this individual has been brought up, a fellow racer has been brought up in podcasts, and he messaged me practically saying, hey, I've noticed that some people don't like me for XYZ reasons. And he's like, I really respect what you do for the podcast, and that, I'm going to try to do better, not having the reputation that he has right now. This person knows who I'm talking about. He's one of the few people that messaged me. But it was cool for me because I didn't know. I'm doing this for fun. I enjoy doing it. Everybody enjoys watching it. I have a list, full of people that want to do it. And I didn't know at the time when I was doing it that I was actually impacting someone else that is watching this thing. Long story short, that all being said, you never know. Maybe she'll get on here, she'll watch it just to see what you had to say and be like, maybe I push him away, at times where I want to be alone. And now, that could alter into something else, because clearly men are horrible about telling women, especially women, how we feel, obviously,
I don't know what you're
and we
talking
say,
about.
yeah, exactly. We say it in different ways, right? So, maybe she'll see that and be like, maybe I push him away when I shouldn't be pushing him away at certain times, so you never know. Stuff like that, could blossom into something different. Or she might see it and be like, you son of a bitch, why did you say this on there? So, I mean, it could go either way. So listen, babe.
She'll probably do it joking.
Whatever your name is, he means well.
Yeah. She'll probably joke about it or something, but she won't mean anything mean about it.
Is she younger or older than you?
Younger.
Oh, so you're a cradle robber too, huh?
Not that much younger. I'm 34. She's 31. Her birthday's January 1st.
What's she do for a living?
She works at CDPHP. So,
No clue what that is.
oh, it's like a
No.
insurance, something like that, like an
Okay.
insurance. I thought that was more world. I guess maybe it is only up here.
Brother, I grew up in Iowa. I'm a very sheltered individual.
I thought CDPHP was popular. I guess it's popular enough over here that I assumed it was everywhere else, but maybe it's not.
I would
It's like a
I
insurance company, I think.
I would say in
Yeah.
Iowa, like insurance wise, you got Nationwide, also like all the big names,
Well, yeah,
big,
those
big
definitely.
names. But I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we have small mom and pops, but they branch off of those big companies.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, oh yeah, it's blah 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 insurance, but we write for Allstate or whoever the hell it is. Um, so yeah, whatever. It is what it is. Um, I mean, we're coming up on 2 hours, so I'm gonna cut this to the point to where it's not terribly long for everybody. So a few things I want to get out of the way. Your thoughts on, because I ask everybody this, your thoughts on Chop Shop, where it is, where it's going, what improvements do you think needs to be made, can be made, what changes for the future that you would like to see. We're always eager to hear everybody's thoughts on it.
That's one of the greatest leagues I've been in. It's I mean, I haven't been on. I've only been on two different like under two different league owners on iRacing. Um, but this is a great league. I like the variety we have right now. Especially so many leagues have oval and like NASCAR stuff. Not many leagues you can find that does it as well as dirt league, which I've always wanted to do something with dirt and road racing, so I could try to get better at that because I know I can always be better um, road racing. But as for future, uh, more different things, maybe a dirt road series for something different, alternating between maybe rally car and the off road truck,
I
or
love that.
maybe every other week rotating or every other season rotating. Do like 10 race seasons and alternate. I've written a bunch of ideas down in Discord, and then a couple endurance races. I know Jason's been wanting to do broadcast endurance races. He always wanted to do that. I know. Was it who the heck was it? Um, was it Caleb during was talking about the NASCAR Wheel and Mods the whole time during our 24-hour Daytona?
I I think it was. I don't
Uh,
remember exactly who it was, but I wanted them to shut up.
but the
I mean,
Wheel and Mods
if
would
I'm
be
being
fun.
honest.
Maybe we can alternate and do a season of Wheel and Mods after the super late models. Let me try to look at some other ideas I wrote down because I forgot because I had some good ideas wherever the heck it is.
Well, and one of the things is now that iRacing got the IndyCar license back,
Yeah,
I
that's
I
right too.
know
IndyCar, yeah, IndyCar
I,
season.
I I do firmly believe we're going to do. We might have just full Indy cars on oval. We might have them mixed up. I don't know what the plan is. Obviously, um, Striker and John don't ever talk to me about anything. I'm just a nobody.
Jesus, I ain't reading all of them. Uh, Jeez, I wrote a whole section, like a whole book on this. Um,
It's when you just start taking pictures and just
yeah.
posting it.
Oh, the SRX is coming too. That'll be fun. Maybe
Yeah.
we can do a short SRX series.
Well, I'm sure Church will push for that.
Dirt 358 modifieds or big block modifieds for dirt would be another one. I wrote IndyCar series with a full Indy 500 in the middle of
Are
the
you
season.
running the dirt league right now?
Yes, I am.
You are? Okay.
I've been running the dirt, truck, and road. I'm pretty much going to try to do them full time. The super late models, I was skeptical on what I wanted to do. I ran one race, and I didn't run the first week because I wasn't sure if I wanted. And I don't think I felt like running it. And then the second week I ran, and then there was a Super Bowl, so I didn't run that because I was at my uncle's house for that. Otherwise, I probably would have done that too.
What's what's the normally? I'm not gonna say what is. Do you ever find yourself? I want to talk mainly on oval because that's where a majority of the drivers are. Um, do you have any rivals or any people that you would prefer not running next to?
Not really. I know
I mean, you're a
everybody.
pretty easy guy. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
I don't see you really get worked up.
I know. Um, Colby wasn't happy with Alex this past week after what happened with the truck race. Um, I know he's not meaning to do all the things, so I'm not like that. I don't care. I mean, if I get wrecked, I'll be mad, but I get over it really quick.
Well, to
So
touch base on the Colby thing, Colby was side drafting him.
I thought I saw the replay. It
Col-
didn't look like it. Was he?
you don't think so? I think so. Here's the one
Maybe,
thing I know
maybe
about
before I
Colby.
saw it, maybe something happened. I don't know, but I know he was saying that Alex was running behind him for like 10 laps and just chilling behind him, and then decided to pass on the outside too of all instead of on the
Right.
inside.
Well, I mean, and I know John got on him a little bit because there is a difference between if you're a lap down and you're trying to stay from going another lap down and they get around you, you need to let them keep going around you at that point or kind of get in line and do your thing. You don't really want to pass them again. The only time you really want to race the leaders at that point is not to pass you. And listen, man, that's something that's learned over time. So I know people were upset about it, but don't beat up Alex for it. He's still learning. He's doing 1,000 times
I know
better
it was
than
an
he did last
accident
year.
because he bounced
Right.
off the wall.
But
But I
Colby
also,
does put himself in situations like that a lot to
I
where it's
also,
not just the other guy's fault.
I also understand because he was running second in battle, holding for trying to win. It's tough. Um, I,
I heard he was slinging a lot of blocks up there and people were getting a little aggravated with him.
Colby was.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know he got into
Colby,
Nate once, and he
they're going
apologized for.
he's he's going to start getting a bumper to him if he keeps being overly aggressive on blocks. I know, and listen, I'm not up front to run, so I don't have a dog in the fight, to be honest with you. But I can tell you, if somebody blocks me and it's too close of a block to where I have to pedal it, the next time it happens, I'm going through you. I mean, cut and dry like that. But it doesn't seem like stuff like that happens to you because you
I do give or take
you got the
still a lot. I mean,
patience,
yeah.
right? You got the patience.
Yeah. For the most part,
And when
I
you're
try.
fast run up front, you're fast. Like that Christmas, I think you had that Christmas
Christmas
themed truck
scheme,
when you won that.
the
Yeah,
very first race, right? Yeah,
yeah,
the
dude, you were a
Michigan.
lightning rod, dude. Like people were like, okay, where the hell did Wesley come from?
That's why at the end of California this past week, I was like, well, two similar tracks. I almost had this one. I'm like, I could get, I won Michigan. I can do it here. I was giving it everything, man. I was trying everything at the end. Like I didn't think I was gonna even have a chance. Like I said, I pretty much threw the top four opportunity away. And to say I've ran what that was race 11, and I started on four, so 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 8 races, and I'm 8 top fours is crazy. So I know that ain't gonna last forever. I'm trying to enjoy the moment. I almost got passed this time for fifth. Actually, Newbra got into me on the backstretch, came up and almost turned me on the last lap, and he got under me, and I drove it down and like side drafted off of him and got back by him. So that was a good race to the finish.
You
So
know, I I want to get this out there before I forget. It was just a thought that happened in my head because I think you and Colby, your podcast obviously slightly longer than his, but I think you guys have a lot of good insight and there's always more to talk about. I think what we need to do is put you and Colby in here together.
after yeah, that would be an idea for something in the future. Like after you do a bunch of people, start doing a couple groups, teams or whatever. That would be
Yeah,
fun to watch.
or I could put we're going to figure something out. I would like one of the things I would really like cuz I love confrontations and I think it makes for good.
Get rivalry.
Right.
This would have been a good week to put Alex and Colby in the same.
That's what I'm saying, dude. I think it would be awesome.
Hash it out. Hashtag fight, fight, fight. No.
Oh yeah, dude. We'll just listen. One rule about Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club.
What happens in the podcast stays on YouTube.
On YouTube forever, for all eternity, for anybody to watch and download.
Shared. Facebook. It's all over the place. You're not escaping it. Yeah.
No, man. There's a lot of. I mean, obviously, you love bowling. You love your old lady. Your life is going to pick up more as your I would assume future stepdaughter gets older and starts, classes and dance.
She's
and
tall
whatever.
Too.
Whatever she gets into, So you're going to have to find a way to really balance your life out, when it comes to, obviously having somebody that's supportive helps 100%. But it's going to be interesting to see what the next, 5 years bring. I mean, do you see yourself still doing this in that timeline, 5 years from now?
Yeah, I love iRacing and stuff too much to just give it up. I mean, I've taken little breaks. Like, I used to race a lot of officials, and then I got to the point where I was like 3,100 I rating, and then I hit a slump down to 24. I was like, I need a break. I was getting caught up in stuff. I was making mistakes, overdriving it because I was, getting tired of losing I rating. I was making mistakes, and I'm like, I took a break, and that was like a year and a half ago, and I haven't run that many officials since, especially on the oval side. And I even missed out like the last 3 seasons of not doing enough officials to get the credits. So this year I picked like 2 series just to run like at least 8 weeks so I can get at least a $10 credit because I have every track and I want to keep that going. I'll just buy up every track every time it comes out.
You own every single track?
Every track.
Damn.
I'm telling you, those stimuluses.
That's a baller status move is what that is,
those
son.
Stimuluses, man, I couldn't stop. Once I got iRacing, I was like, I saw the track and I'm like, I gotta have it. And there's a handful
like
I haven't even run yet.
I may never race it, but if that time ever comes, I got the damn thing.
Exactly. So, and now it's to the point though, at least, when the new tracks come out, it's like 2-3 tracks. It's only, I get the 40% off or whatever because I have so many stuff that I could just,
How much money do you think you've spent?
I don't even want to know. I counted once. This was not good. It was within months. I had so many tracks in almost every track. I was like counting all the receipts that I have on emails, and I added up, and I didn't even finish, and I was over $1,000. I was like, oh. It didn't feel like that at the time because I was buying a couple here and there. And that's not counting, this past Black Friday, I actually bought the 2-year membership for the deal. So I'm good for 2 years, although I might end up actually buying the 2-year again if they have the deal this year. So then I'm good for 3 years after this. And then I don't have to worry about it for a while.
My membership doesn't expire for like the end of 2026 because I already had a year, and then I seen that deal, and I'm like, oh, I'm jumping all over that. $150, I save 50. Why not?
Yeah, I mean it's only like if they keep doing it more than normal 1 year, so why not try it? I did
if the year before. Doing it, I'm gonna keep doing it.
I wanted to the year before, but I was like, I don't have the money. I wanted to get a couple games for PlayStation and all that I didn't do it the year before, and I regretted it. I'm like, this time it's happening. So I bought the 2-year this time, and I'll do the same next time.
I wish they would come out with more options, like because you can go month to month, you can do 3 months, and you can do a year, I believe. I wish they would come out with like a 5 and 10 year.
Or 5 and 10.
I mean, dude, if they did
5 and 10 year. Yeah.
You think about if they did a 10-year, what is it a year now? $100. So if they did a 10-year, you're
110,
talking okay, 110. So you're talking what?
and then it's 200 for
1200.
two.
Yeah, you'd be talking like $1,200. I mean, even at that price, and then say it's $1,200, and they're like, "Hey, man, we're going to give you guys a deal. We're going
Black
to give you
Friday
10
go like
years at 800 or something."
750 or something like
Yeah,
that.
or
Yeah,
750. Right. Everybody there would be a lot of people to jump on that, especially if you release that statement
that's a good idea.
between February and April, when people are getting their taxes back.
Oof, that's a good time.
People, yeah, people would jump all over that.
Because I just
I
got
mean,
mine, so yeah, I would probably jump on that. I mean, 5 year would be a good way to start at least. A five
no,
year,
hell yeah.
that would be.
I mean, yeah,
They
even if
should do that.
5 year was your max, you could do 1, 3, and 5, and give those options. I don't know why they wouldn't come up with that idea, because everything's so expensive inside the sim anyways.
Yeah,
That if people are spending $15 a track or $15 a car, they're going to. I'm sure their main demographic is probably a year at a time. So I don't know why you wouldn't
yes,
offer.
that would be
You
a
got a
great
cheap
idea.
option for the guys that can't really afford it, for monthly. You got your main demographic, which is probably going to be your year guys, and then you offer the 2 year one time a year. That a lot of people, I would assume, jump all over that. But if you offered a 3 to 5 year, guys like you, me, Striker, John, we would all jump on that train because it's just less of a
That's
hassle
also
later.
good timing to do another sale instead of just doing a Black Friday right around tax season, like you said. That would be a
Absolutely. I
good.
mean,
Listen to this,
if you're
iRacing, huh?
yeah, exactly. If you're running a business model like you guys are, you need you need to have, what would it be considered, an early spring sale after everybody's getting their taxes. And let's you know what, we need to get a discount in iRacing just for giving them this idea.
I like that.
Listen, Chop Shop, they want like a 10-year. Give us all the tracks, hook us up. We're gonna make you a ton of money.
I have all the tracks now, so you just help a brother out. You know what I mean?
Help a brother
I
out.
spent a lot of money for you on you,
you,
and
you kept their electric on
I
single-handedly for a little bit.
2020 to 2021, they were loving that money off of COVID during. I'm telling you. I mean,
That's
I
awesome.
couldn't believe how fast I had every track, and I didn't realize. I mean, when I first
You don't
got
have every car,
iRacing,
do you?
what?
You don't have every car, do you?
No, no, I don't think I'll ever get every car because I don't need every car, especially the ones that are the same classes, unless like
I want to own every car.
what you want to own
I
every
want
car.
to own every. Yeah, I'm
Maybe
that guy.
someday, but it's
I
like
want
not
it
as
all.
important as the tracks would be to me. I want the
No,
tracks
hundred
first.
percent, hundred
So
percent. Yeah.
I went with the tracks. I have a lot of cars, and but not like I've always wanted to get like the asphalt sprint car and the USAC car. I'd love to get them, and I keep wanting to get them, and then every time I go to do it, I'm like I don't know because it doesn't seem like not many people are running them. But I wish they were because they look like they're fun cars. But
See, the one thing I worry about if is iRacing taking stuff away and bringing stuff back, type of thing. If you were to go buy like the 87s, and for whatever reason 5 years down the road they get rid of the 87s, you
I
what
wouldn't
was the
think they
point in buying
would.
it? Right. I
I have
don't know
one
if
of
they've
the
done that or
87s,
not.
but I never bought the other three.
I bought the Buick.
I
I
would have
thought it was.
probably if I bought it. I don't even remember which one I have. I think I have the. I don't even remember which one I have, but I bought it when it was only the Chevy and the Ford. So, I didn't. The Buick wasn't out then. Otherwise, I probably would have got the Buick. Um, what the other cars? I've been wanting the. See, I don't even actually have the USAC Sprints, the ones without the wing, because I don't think. I think they're
I think I have
separate,
one. Or no, I think you just buy it and that's that.
and you get
I
all
can't
three
remember.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm happy that they don't force you to buy, like the street stock right out of the gates, kind of given to you as like, oh, thanks for signing up with us. USA International is going to be the go-to track, maybe some Charlotte,
They
but after that, you got to buy everything.
yeah, they actually added like I think they're adding 3 more tracks to the free. That guess who bought already? Because I have all the tracks. So it,
Damn.
but oh well. I mean, I wish they can give you a little credit back from them if you had them, but
Well, I think the larger the car is, the bigger the discount should be, which I know it's similar. It's kind of set up like that right now, but it's
I
not.
think
It's
once it
kind
go
of
up to
weird.
40, I think 40 is the max, 40%.
Right. But I mean,
So
over time, if you're just buying a track at a time and you're still getting your 40, which I got 42, it's not a huge savings. I mean, you have to really have 10 tracks in your cart to really get
yeah,
that,
then it'll
get the
feel like a
benefit of
real
it.
good deal at that
Right.
point. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna get the new track. I know they're adding now Magello or Magello. I don't know how to pronounce it. The one that just added last season. I haven't run it in here yet, but I know I did run that track on Project Cars 2 before, and I really like that. One track I would love them to add is Dubai Autodrome. That was like one of my favorite tracks on Project Cars 2.
I think
I wish
that
they would scan that one.
wasn't that track on Forza too, if I remember
I
right?
don't know. I haven't played much Forza because I was always PlayStation person, but I actually do have the Forza on this, but I haven't played it in a while. I
Oh,
because it
dude,
was
that was my first experience with
free
road
on the
course stuff.
I loved Project Cars too, so that you know I think helped me a little bit when I got to iRacing because Project Cars 2 is just as hard to drive. It was a
Yeah.
very good simulator, and they killed it with 3. I didn't even get it. It was disappointing. I thought they were gonna go. I thought it was gonna be such a. I was so looking forward to 3. I'm like, well, where can they go with this game? And then they went more arcadey.
Yeah. I don't well, and I don't think iRacing's ever going to go anywhere. It's
No,
just
I don't think so. I'm
the
looking forward to the
it
career mode though. I'm definitely looking because I love
right.
doing career stuff. Like that's the reason
I
I used to get NASCAR Heat mainly and stuff is just to do career mode because I've always loved doing career modes in racing and franchises in football. I never really played online with football at all actually, except maybe with a couple friends here and there. But usually I just play franchise. That's always was my thing. And
yeah, it I don't I think if something were to ever happen to iRacing, somebody's going to pick up because this just it's too broadly used anymore, you know.
I wish they
I
would
mean,
make an iRacing version of drag racing somehow. Although I
that'd be sweet.
found something that's probably actually really good. I played it a couple times. It's called Bounty Drag Racing, and there's one guy that put this game together, and I'm in the Discord with the and it's the I mean graphics wise, it's been getting work done and stuff, but as for physics and driving, it seems like it's a real like for one person putting it together, it's really fun, and they do like tournaments all the time on there. You can drive down the drag strip, turn around, and come back, park at your pit, and come right back to the staging lanes. It's really neat. I want to eventually play that more. But then the
I
only thing is you got to set up the cars and stuff yourself. I don't know what I'm doing. Otherwise,
see there was one and on man, I want to say it was like the original Xbox. And I remember I'll never forget this. You
was
could build the motor, the shocks, everything.
it the
It
IHRA?
was I can't remember what it was to be honest with you, but I do know that it was me and my brother stayed up for like 8 hours one night just building the motor, and we're like swapping heads, trying to figure out what was going to give us the most amount of power. And then I think we put it in like a stock Chevy pickup or some shit, and like the second you would go, it just take off like a kite. It was awesome, but I've been waiting for another drag racing game to be that intricate again to where maybe not give that much access to everybody right out of the gate, but over like a course of a career unlock,
Yeah.
certain aspects like, oh, now you can run an aluminum block. Now you can run dart heads. Now you can run, open headers and just kind of evolve as you go. That way, the guys that are running like a top fuel dragster versus a guy that's running a funny car. The guy with a top fuel dragster probably has a little more experience in the sim, than the pro stock guy or whatever, or the funny car guy.
I used to play like in my old PCs, like back when I was talking about with the Windows 95 and 98 and all that. When it used to be able to handle that, NHRA Drag Racing 2 on the PC was a great game. It was a lot of fun. I've been trying to get it on here. I cannot get it. And because I want to go back and play it. It was fun. I almost forgot how it felt. And I with the NHRA game that just came out, it's fun, but it's nowhere near what I was hoping for. Like the old PlayStation 2 ones were actually really fun, and I was kind of hoping we'd have something similar. I was so looking forward to the new drag racing game coming out. I wish they would like do something and make another one, make a better one. I don't know. I haven't heard anything though. If there's gonna be another one coming in the future or what.
You seem like such a nice guy. Why in the world would you play PlayStation?
Well, I'm guessing you're an Xbox guy. So I've always had. I don't know. I started with PlayStation 1 and just literally had them all the way through.
Well, I mean, you got to think the PlayStation, the original PlayStation came out before the Xbox did.
That's probably, yeah.
So, I mean, I would say most video gamers outside of, I mean, most people start out, I would say like the number one console that really sparked the console world, minus your Nintendos and Ataris and all that fun shit, would be the 64. I think the 64 was really a plateau for where that really branched out everything,
I don't think I ever had the 64. I had Super Nintendo was the very first one I had. My grandma and grandpa's house had the Atari, and I remember playing little baseball with the little guys running side to side.
Right. Yeah.
But watching the evolution of video games, like the baseball and all that stuff, is really neat to watch on YouTube. The transition.
Well, I mean, I just think after. I would say after the 64, because 4 people could play on that at once. 9 times out of 10, it was either Mario Kart or GoldenEye.
Mario Kart, man,
right. But
still to this day, love that game.
Oh, there isn't, dude. My kid has a Switch. I have with the Mario Switch Kart Party. Kart.
Yeah, Mario Party is another fun one. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know you could put that on the big TV, and I'm like, son, we're doing this. Like, this is gonna be awesome.
I gotta get your Switch code.
What's that?
Do you have a Switch code for online?
Honest to God, he plays it all the time. I don't mess with it too much, other than that time I hooked it up to the TV. We probably do. I don't know anything.
I keep talking about the Switch honestly. Like I play it all the time, and I don't play it. I hardly play it, and I keep wanting to play it, and I don't ever get to it.
I could tell you that when I first got my first PlayStation for Christmas, obviously. And I want to say that thing was like $200, which was a shitload of money then.
Yes.
I remember I got 3 games. I got Spyro, I got Rayman, and I got like WCW wrestling or whatever. Because I was a kid. Every kid's like into wrestling. It seems like when they're growing up. And I remember playing the hell out of that because the center of it was just a CD holder, and then you had a power and a reset. But my foster brother had an Xbox when it first came out, the old brick Xbox.
Yeah.
And the difference between the two, minus, the controller was big, bulky, it sucked. I hated it.
That's why I didn't like Xboxes, because the controller was just didn't feel right. I like PlayStation better. I don't know.
The memory on them, dude. Like, it seemed like you could save and save and save. I had like 700 songs on that damn thing, and still didn't even like register on the memory thing. That's what I loved most about it.
Well, speaking of it's funny with memory, because I remember the PlayStation days when you had the little 16 megabyte memory cards. They used to plug in and fit like 85 games on it. And now Call of Duty takes up half of your PlayStation thing because it's like 250 gigabytes. and it updates every week,
I
if
gave up
that.
on COD.
So my cousin ended up getting it on the PC because he was tired of it updating on the PlayStation all the time. So,
Well, a PC gamer's better than a console gamer, skill wise.
yeah.
Period. I mean, there's no comparison between the two.
So as for systems, I've had Super Nintendo, Game Boy Advance, PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I had the Nintendo GameCube, and I got the Switch, and I had the Wii.
Never a Sega?
Not me. My cousin had a Sega. Um, I know I forgot about Sega too, and Dreamcast was another one that I think my uncle had or something. Uh, like there's a Nintendo store in New York City that was really neat because they have you can see every single Nintendo thing in a case, and there was some like only were made in Japan that were there,
That's awesome.
and they have them all in there. It was pretty cool to see. Like there was some old things I was looking like, what the heck is that? Weird looking things, but they were like 19. I don't remember the year. It was like probably in the 70s or 80s, even way back. Yeah,
That is neat.
it was. It was really cool.
All right, we're at almost 2.5 hours, so we're gonna cut this bad boy off. We got a lot of insight on who you are as a person. I think it'll be interesting to see what comments you get, on the video,
I'll wait till
because
Colby
I don't.
checks it out and see what he puts.
Yeah, screw that guy. No one cares about him. I'm kidding, Colby. You just
Storm
your mouth
racing.
kind of get
Storm racing.
your mouth kind of gets in your way sometimes. But hey, yeah. If anybody is interested, I think I could speak for you on this aspect. If you, I wouldn't necessarily say if you need help, but if you need guidance, Wesley's a dude that is pretty much an open book. When it comes Colby, however, he kind of plays his cards a little closer to him. So I would approach Wesley over Colby. Just you'll probably get along a little farther along, with Wesley. That's what I would do.
I made a couple paint schemes for you, I think, and weren't there more that you wanted and I haven't gotten to.
It's not a big deal, dude. I do miss my Callaway one. I don't know what happened with the. That was a weird process altogether. For what I've noticed, that if I don't have if I don't have a custom number and the TGA as separate files, it for some reason, maybe I'm uploading them wrong. I don't know. But I got it working once, and I went to switch it for another league I was going to run. So I had one for one league, one for the other. Then it just messed everything up on me. But I know when I shared it, on my deal, there was like other people around the way, like picking that paint because they loved it too.
The Toby Keith truck I made, there was a lot of people running that one.
The Friday the 13th one you did was probably my favorite.
That was a great idea. Now, because my YouTube channel, I stream like everything, and I do like little special things just to keep myself entertained as well as trying to do something different. So, I used to do I do special weeks sometimes, like a Call of Duty week in April, because it just started that way, and I just kept it in April, and then I did a Halloween week for like 3-4 years. Last year I decided to do Halloween month, so I did something every day, and it just so happened we were running on Friday the 13th, and I just thought like I should make a Friday the 13th car because we used to play that Friday. Idea. Me, my sister, and my cousin, and one of my best friends from locally, for a good year and a half straight, played F-13 every Friday. That was our thing. We played every Friday night. We loved playing that game. I kind of miss those days, but that was multiple years. So we used to play that game a lot. So then I just decided to make a paint scheme of it, and it came out really good. I was really impressed. Like I really liked that scheme. I liked how I made it like a bright orange for Halloween. Plus I made it like spooky in the front with Jason in the front.
No,
So
yeah, yeah, it was sweet. You know what? I'm glad you brought up the whole YouTube thing. It is your link. What is your YouTube link? We'll make sure we post this on the video so anybody that watches it wants to check out your channel. They can at least type it in.
the link itself is confusing. I don't know if I thought you can make a custom link with your name after the hashtag, but at the same time, I look at it sometimes and it's like weird numbers and stuff. But
Well,
it's
you have to have over 100 subscribers, I think, because we were just talking
I
about
almost
this
got
last night.
700.
Oh shit!
So
So you
what
maybe you need to go back through and
now?
make sure that custom URL set.
It might be. Um, I got like almost 700 subscribers, and they lowered everything to be able to get monetized for it. And funny
Right,
enough, I the limit was so the first level is like 500 subscribers and 3,000 watch minutes. That was the only thing I needed. I hit that last week, so I can monetize. But because that, I don't know if I was talking about it during the Daytona 24, that YouTube gave me a strike for a video from 2021 for hate speech that probably wasn't even me. It was probably the party I was in on PlayStation during it. So because of that strike, it lasts 90 days. I can't do anything until April 6th.
that's so
So
stupid.
ironically, but one day they just completely wiped. Like I was just watching things, wiped my channel completely. I was like, "What is happening? Nothing's loading." I was like, "This is not happening." I emailed them, like, and I laid down in bed, and I was like, I couldn't sleep. My mind was racing. Like, did I just lose everything? Because I don't save the backups of videos, and that's like all my memories. Like, at least can I just keep it to myself and just make everything private?
Right.
Because that's the main thing I would like to do. Because I like having the memories. There's so many memories on it and funny moments. So they deleted it completely. Like it was wiped out all of a sudden, and they said it was something for violating the terms. No warning. So, and I emailed them. 25 minutes later, I was still laying in bed awake, and I got an email saying, "We noticed it was a mistake, and we restored everything." I was like, "Thank God, I can sleep now." Then the next day is when they gave me the strike on that one video from
Why
two and a
would
half
why
years ago.
yeah, why when you upload it didn't they catch it within at least the first
I
72 hours?
don't know, but it was just, and it's just annoying how it happened. Like they must be looking because I'm getting close to monetizing. They're trying to find something to like, and it just, I
You
couldn't
know,
believe it.
some of the biggest YouTubers I know back in the day, there was a lady called Jenna Marbles on there, and she was big, and I know she went through a horrible deal. I don't know the whole story, but she ended up going to court with a representative from YouTube. Like, dude, what is going on? Like, this is my primary income, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It makes you really wonder, like the big guys, like streamers, even like
Yeah,
PewDiePie is probably the largest video game streamer on the face of the earth, and then you got Mr. Beast, which is hands down the largest YouTuber on the
like
face of
I
the planet.
watch like
Like they got to be
WinVow,
careful.
WinVow, Real Radman, like a lot of those guys I watch. They do a lot of racing stuff and that, um and Jimmy Broadbent's another big one. Jeff Favignano. So like I can't imagine. It's just I'm sure it's gonna be even tougher when I do monetize myself. So I gotta be more careful. But it's just the timing of that was so weird, and the way of the video was from so long ago that it blocked me from being able to post or anything on my channel for a whole week. It was annoying. I actually made a second one to post stuff for the week and still added it to my own playlist. But I couldn't even add it to the playlist until the week was over. So
Could you imagine if We're Going to Lose was going to monetize? Like every single one of his videos would be deleted.
I know.
I mean, because his whole primary deal is trolling. So the shit that comes out of everybody's mouths is you're just sitting here like, I can't believe that dude just said that, but they don't know they're being broadcasted anyways. So.
Like this, I put so much of my time and life since end of 2016 into not only just making this channel. Like I mainly do it too, not even just to stream it. I love making thumbnails. I love doing all that stuff. I've put so much work into this channel that I was like I thought I lost it, and I was like that was like a huge gut punch, and I was like so worried. And it's only a YouTube channel, like it's not that
I'd
big
be
of a deal.
backing everything up from here on out.
I don't think I deleted a video since, but then I'm gonna need to buy even more hard drives and
no shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's just when you got that much work into it, you gotta back up everything.
Yeah, because I've had
especially Facebook. Do you know how many people have pictures on Facebook that they don't even have saved? I'm like, you guys are stupid because
you remember
if
MySpace?
anything were to ever happen,
I probably got stuff on there that I haven't logged. I almost forgot. I didn't even think of it until now. Who knows? I might even have pictures on there that I don't have anymore.
I don't. Is MySpace even around still?
I don't even know. But that's the thing. This is what made me start buying external hard drives. Was when I went to Daytona in 06, I lost all my pictures because I had to. My computer crashed, or I had to redo my computer. Lost everything. So I don't have I still have my videos from my video camera, but I lost all my Daytona pictures, and it's just like, all right, something needs to change. I need to. So that's that moment on is when I started getting external hard drives, so I have backups of stuff.
Look at how we're gonna do this real quick before we end this video. Why is this? What is going on here? Screen window. Look at this stuff. So like this, MySpace is still around. That's crazy.
I don't even know what it looks like now.
It looks like this. You see the window?
That's MySpace.
This is
that looks way different than I remember.
Oh yeah, dude, this looks so commercial.
I don't even know if I know how to log into my account.
Oh, brother, I guarantee you they've updated it to the.
Now I remember, like MySpace was. What I used to have MySpace before Facebook, so that was what I'd never had Facebook until later. So MySpace, it's weird thinking about because my dad was in the Navy, and so obviously we root for Navy and Army Navy, and my buddy I help every week at the track is their Army, so there's that little rivalry thing inside itself. But so my dad actually found out. Now, when he was in the Navy, before, my mom and dad are divorced now, but before he even met her, he had a daughter with somebody, and she actually found me through MySpace because she asked me who my dad was, and I was like, yeah, that's him. Never knew it until a couple years later. My dad was talking about it and said, yeah, she actually found you first. I was like, really? And then she's like, yeah, MySpace or something, she messaged you. I'm like, and then I'm thought about it. I'm like, I kind of, now that I think of it, I do remember somebody asking me that question. So, yes. And then we actually met her one time. We went to, now my dad drove city bus for 35, maybe even more years. So I've always been interested in buses. So I was, Bus Simulator is I love playing those games. A lot of simulator games, as well as sports now. So, but being the city driver, they used to have like the rodeo competitions with the cones, and they used to have national. And we got to California, and they met us because they live in Vegas. So we actually had a whole weekend out of that. Which, when we went, it was in Long Beach, and ironically, the site where they had the competition was right in part of the track where the streets of Long Beach is. So I have pictures of that too, and they still had. And then I got pictures of the finish line in the street. So that that was got to go a couple cool places with him when they had the national thing when he made it there. So
yeah, that's pretty awesome. Yeah, well, You know, when I had that window up for MySpace, the really ironic part is you could log in with Facebook on
Oh,
it.
can you? I should try it after this. I'm gonna check it now. Thanks. See
How
if
I mean
it's even still there
that's
anymore. I don't even know if.
well, I mean that's so weird because you would think they would be competitors because it's practically the same thing. I mean, MySpace came out and then Facebook came out,
Yeah,
and Facebook, you know, its sole purpose was to be different than
I want to
MySpace.
say
So,
MySpace was out before anything else, really, like
oh,
Instagram and
it was like the first social
yeah, I
network
remember
going
that.
because everybody would deck out their
Everybody wanted
pages
their
with like
top eight.
pot plants
Everybody wanted to be in
or
their
whatever.
top 8 friends,
Yeah,
and then they extended it to
it's
like
so
top 12. And
you log in, there's music playing. That it's weird to see how cool that shit was then, and now you look at it now, and you're
yeah,
just like you get
yeah.
irritated with it, if anything.
Mm.
So, anyways,
Well, I know we've been here. I
we're
kept you to wait too long. So
no, man. It's hey, this is the whole point of a podcast.
everybody will shut it off by
Obviously,
now. Now you can probably talk about Colby all you want because he probably won't make it this far.
no, no. One thing that a lot of people do is they don't watch it, but they play it in their ear, you know, when they're at
Yeah.
work. So I mean, even if it's 2 hours and they hear us rambling on, they'll pick up details throughout the whole
One more
thing
thing I
and kind of
forgot with
put
that. Yeah, because when I was getting that, and I never talked about it, because when we were saying, I said we booked our trip to Darlington because we wanted to go to Darlington, and then I got on topic of all the tracks I've been to. But I told Colby, and I don't know if I'll meet him down there or not. So we'll see if we get together down there. And I
yeah.
looked at the
If you know,
Cars
if you
tour,
guys do,
and the
you
Cars
should make
tour's
a
running.
YouTube video.
Yeah, we should.
You know, it just you could just kind of like record your day if you guys do run into each other.
All right.
I know if we do this Bristol thing, I'm definitely bringing a GoPro or something,
Now
and
well,
we're gonna have some
I
fun
have
with
a
it.
GoPro, but it was my buddy that bought it because we put it in his car, and I'm the one that deals with the videos. But what was it? That's actually what got me a lot of subscribers and views, is me posting a couple things like races I went to, and like even I posted our big Adirondack Nationals car show up here, and it got so many views. I was like, I need to start going through all my like concert videos and all that stuff and putting things together. And I stopped, but I put a good amount of. I put some from the football game and some of the dirt races. I'm at a lot of dirt races up here. So I've been putting a couple of real videos together, not really with myself, but recording what's around. So,
Right.
but yeah, that's a good idea. We can do
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I mean, it would definitely boost the views up, especially from the guys in Chop Shop. I mean, if it's a big video, it's a big video. If it's not, it's not. You're doing it. Do it for the right reasons. Do it because you enjoy doing it. If something becomes of it later on, so be it. That's just kind of like the
Yeah.
benefit of it. But you know, Mr. Beast made videos for 8 years before he ever took off. You know,
Well,
so I mean,
yeah,
it's
it
always a
takes
time
a while.
consumption thing. Oh,
It really
absolutely.
does. Um,
And I mean, people go back, you know, when somebody's big and they're like, dude, I want to see where this guy
yeah,
started.
I have
And
done
if
that
you
with some
keep those
people.
original then those videos start getting the views that your new ones are getting, and then you're just rolling. Then at that point, you're just counting your Benjamins. But
Yeah.
anyways, thanks for coming. I do appreciate your time.
Yeah, finally made
Um,
it.
well, we'll definitely do a part two later on as kind of the season progresses and we figure stuff out.
I'm sure a lot of
Um,
people probably have a part two. They can easily have a part two with anybody once you get on
oh,
talking like
100%.
us.
And who knows where this is going to go. My goal is to get actual, not to say that we're not actual drivers, but to get professional drivers on here eventually. Obviously, a lot needs to happen in order. This is still fun. It's new. We'll focus on that a little
And
later on.
I know another topic I was gonna say. Me and I don't think you know him, Mason, but from Jason's old league. Now one day we were just in a he jumped into a lobby that Dean Thompson was running, and there was a lot of nights that we did race with Dean and played. A bunch of us played golf it and stuff. Like I try to get a hold of him sometimes, but it's cool like being able to say I've had fun times on even playing games online with somebody that's running a NASCAR and stuff, and he's a funny guy, man. We used to run
Listen, I've
Mazdas at ovals, the short ovals. That's what we were
see
running.
what I started doing. I started emailing these guys. Like I emailed Kyle Larson, Kevin Harvick, a bunch of because I mean their email addresses aren't their personal ones are obviously a secret, but their main ones, I'm sure they have somebody cycle through it.
I'm sure, yeah.
But it's like, what does it hurt just asking them? I mean, they're either not going to respond to you or they are and they're going to say, yeah, unfortunately he can't do this,
Yeah.
blah blah blah. But all it takes is one person. And if I were to get Ricky Stenhouse Jr. on here, just use him for an example, that can open up way more avenues, later on down the road. So I think that would be a primary goal because I love racing. That's the whole purpose I do this. I could talk about racing for years.
Yeah, it'd be cool if you start getting to have real drivers on here, then start expanding to all different types of motorsports and road racing, Monster Jam, Supercross. It'd be cool.
Get Tomac on here. He's one of the best motocross racers on the face of the planet, or Ricky Carmichael, or any of those guys. I mean, dude,
I miss when he was running the trucks, man. I think he would have been. I got to see him run the ARCA at Dover before, so and he was running good that race.
He's fearless.
I got to see Kenseth finally win one at New Hampshire, so at least I got to see my driver win. Although he did win the IROC race at Daytona that year I went. I think that was the last year IROC before. I can't wait to see what happens this year with that. But I think 2006 was the last year, and he won the IROC race that year when we were there. So that was cool to see. But seeing him win a cup race finally was nice. My dad was always a Kurt Busch fan too, so we never got to see him win. In fact, I was at Pocono that day his accident happened to the last time he was in the car. So
yeah, that's unfortunate. It'll be interesting to see where the chop shop chopping it up grows. It'll be interesting to see where your channel privately goes, and just as a community and as individuals to see where everybody grows. That being said, I take the time at the end of every podcast. If there's anybody you'd like to thank in general, now's the time. As Jason would say, give out your shout outs.
Yes. I know I should be used to this by now. I'm in the trucks, but no, obviously this has been fun to watch. I've watched a lot of these. I haven't watched the last couple yet, but I watched like the first 4 or 5 full ones, including Jason's. That was a really good one to watch. And I related a lot to him with like local tracks and stuff, and so it's cool that you're doing this. That would be cool to see, and especially having episodes if it gets to that far, being able to include us with some real drivers would be cool, or like rotate and like have a round table here with a bunch of us communicating. And my girl will watch this and she'll probably watch the whole thing as soon as possible. I know I love you whenever you watch it. If you make it this far, this is a long one. And then Chop Shop's great league. Anybody who's watching this who's looking for a league, definitely this is a good one. I'm sure they'll probably post a Discord link somewhere if you ask for it. And what else? Storm Racing. It's all good fun, Colby. So I'll see you in a day or two when we run the Bathurst 12-hour, another grinder. So I think I'm out for now. I don't know. Hopefully we have some more good races in the future. And I just enjoy it anyway, no matter what happens, it's always fun to race. Just have fun doing it.
Well, and I think I speak with everybody. We always enjoy racing with you. You're clean, you're fast. There's a lot to be learned. I think regardless of how good somebody is, you can learn. Everybody can learn something from somebody. So that being said, it's awesome to have you on here. Obviously, we can't do any of this without sponsorship. I always go through our sponsors.
Speedy Trophies is one.
Yep, we got C2 Gaming, My Three Sons, Track Racer, Baller Status Boys. Yep. Speedy Trophies, Admin Box, Geomax, Virtual Velocity Racing, MCI Graphics, Stay Tuned Sports, Jason with Signature Esports, a phenomenal broadcaster. If you own a league and you want broadcasting, he is the man to hit up. He's so good at what he does.
He's got a great voice for it, so it's
absolutely.
yes.
Well, and I mean, he was in radio. This is what this guy does.
Right. And when he
He's
was
damn good at
talking about in his thing, about like announcing at tracks and stuff. Like I know I have a friend that that I knew through somebody else that broadcast was one of the track announcers, and he's actually on the Super Dirt Car Series tour now, and he actually did World of Outlaw late models. He was on their tour with them doing the announcing, so it can get you places. I've always kind of liked doing it on my own, but I'd feel pressured if I was doing it with you guys. But I probably wouldn't be too bad at it. Maybe someday I'll join you for a race if I'm not running or something. Just
hey,
or
man,
maybe not even through the
you're
whole
welcome.
thing, but I would like to try it. I just would be afraid of messing up, but we'll see. I've always enjoyed doing it myself.
There's two types of people that I've noticed just in life when it comes to stuff like that, and there's people that are just their camera and microphone. What's the best way to put it? It's like a stage fright thing. If they don't have a problem speaking in front of people, they're not scared to look dumb or whatever. And then there's other people that are they're gun shy, and I think majority of the people are. And fortunately for me, I got personality. I don't care what anybody thinks about me,
No, doing this, broadcasting over something like this, I could probably do. When I had to speak at being the best man for my dad's wedding, no, that I had it. I'm like, give me the drink, and I took a big chug of it before I went up there. I can't do it. It's in front of a bunch of people. It's a lot harder than it is doing it like over announcing or broadcasting like this.
Well,
There's
right,
a big difference because it's just seeing people looking at you, and it's dead
right.
quiet.
Well, and that's the thing I was saying is it's just some people have an act for it, other people's don't.
Right.
And I would say there's more people that don't than do. And I've always been that guy. I love weddings. I love weddings because I like getting messed up.
Especially if it's an open bar.
Exactly.
It's
So I mean, like
bar
every
by the time
wedding,
I leave.
right? Like every wedding, whether I'm in it or not, like they have activities like the shoe game and whatnot, and there's always somebody on a microphone. And for some reason, I'm just like this. This is what I do. I need to be able to get out there, talk. I can think of stuff quick off the hip, off the dome type of stuff, and I enjoy the challenge of bettering myself. Obviously, me compared to Jason when it comes to broadcasting, I suck compared to him. I think I'm good in my own way, and I think everybody obviously has their own style. And I think there's a little more professionalism for Jason than there is anybody else out there. He could be charging $100 a race if he wanted to, and maybe he does in some aspects. I'm not 100% sure. But we are actually going to be doing his part 2 here very shortly. I think yours will probably be upload before his, but I'm trying to get them all recorded at the same time.
You're gonna post them like weekly.
Yeah. That way it gives everybody a week to watch every individual one. I don't want to do 2 back to back. That's just silly.
I made a bunch of best of videos with a bunch of my clips, and I have them. I made a good amount of them that I have them scheduled for every Friday to premiere at 8:00 for a month and a half, ready to go. That are ready to go. So it's
and so that's kind of what I'm trying to do.
Yeah,
get a bunch of recordings set up, and then if I want to take a Friday off, I can. And because I have 6 or 7 videos already recorded, and we can upload them appropriately.
It's cool because you can upload them all ahead of time and schedule them, and it'll schedule it and play it like a premiere, like it's live.
Well, and Stryker does all the editing. He loves editing. He's good at it. So maybe that's something he'll look into. Obviously, too. We'll get 6 or 7 videos recorded. He can edit them, schedule them, and then he doesn't.
Them. Yeah.
Right. We work less on the back end. You know, I just need to be the initial person to get those videos out. So like tonight's you, tomorrow's Jason. I think I had another one set up for tomorrow. I don't remember who it was. I'm gonna have to go back and look. So whoever it is, if you're watching, don't get upset because I can't remember everything. Um. Anyways, that's our time. We called out all our sponsors. We couldn't do anything about it. Wesley Strait, thank you for showing up. Taking the time out of your day. Obviously, this was a long one. We babbled about anything and everything. I'm sure we'll do a part 2 sometime in the future.
Yeah.
And
do a team
we'll
storm racing team one. That'd be fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of ideas for the future. I'm looking forward to.
Well, yeah. I just want to get individual stuff out of the way before we go down that rabbit hole because this thing can go.
I mean, we got 38 truck drivers.
There's fingers. Yeah, exactly. There's just
a lot of people that could do
so
this.
many.
Yeah.
There's just so many ways this could go. So that being said, again, thank you all for watching. Stick with it. It gets it. There's a lot of twists and turns in this. You learn a lot about this guy. You know, he's traveled all over the place, been to thousands of activities. I'm sure people will end up hitting you up, just asking you about your experiences and what's a good place to go, and you know, ask you for advice. You know, when it comes to going to Darlington or New Hampshire or Dover or whatever, you know, they may be into at the time. So, again, thank you. Thank you to all the sponsors. Thank you for everybody that's sitting at home watching. Sorry if we bore you. Get over it. Don't watch it if you don't like it, type of thing. Yeah. We're signing off.
I try to keep it entertaining.
We try to keep it entertaining. Wesley Strait, everybody.
Thanks for having me. See you later.
Everybody have a good night. Stay classy, and we'll see you guys on the next episode. Good night.